but this is what we wanted during the winter. Isn't that? Was that not right? So here we are. So 55th month of Srimad Bhagavatam Katha, and the topic we have chosen is the perfect householder. So I see everybody's a householder. So you're either going to be in your family life or you're already in a family life. That's what is called as householders. And we learn from Lord Krishna's pastimes in Dwaraka. So it's very practical topic that we chose today. This is from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and there are 90 chapters, and this is towards the end of it. This is the 69th chapter. It's got only about 45 verses, but as we usually do, we will connect similar pastimes and verses, etc., together, so that there is a very nice understanding of this wonderful pastime, and we'll also see what we can learn from this. That's the whole idea. If you remember, what are the lessons to be learned? So if you have the presentation or the hard copy with you, so don't go through that now. Hold on to that. We will get to that later on. It will all make sense to you when we are going through the sequence of events, the lessons to be learned, and also the quiz. So what we'll do is, as we usually do, we'll go through the actual events that took place. This is not like an actual pastime that actually took place. Usually, if there's a pastime, Damodar Lila pastime, it's a story by itself. But here, these are sequence of events that actually happened in each one of the palaces. So there are 16,108 palaces that Narada Muni went, and Srimad Bhagavatam gives us a hint of what took place in about 33 palaces. Okay, so that will give us an idea of what happened in the 16,108 palaces. Because if you have to understand what is actually Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't give us more details than what is there in about 30 odd palaces, but that gives us a very good idea of the normal day-to-day activities of Lord Krishna when he was enacting his earthly pastimes in not only in Vrindavan, but also in this case, how he enacted his pastimes in Dwaraka as a householder. Okay. So 5 R's for knowledge retention. So I like to put this once in a while, so that we understand how to keep in our mind how what we learn sticks in our mind. Does not matter whether you are studying in school, college, etc. These are the 5 R's for knowledge retention. If you have to retain anything, then it has to be, first of all, be relevant to you. For example, if AI is not something that you're interested in, so even if you go and sit in the class, it's not going to be relevant to you. So you will not be able to retain the knowledge because you're not interested in that. Now, all of us are here because we are all spiritually oriented at different levels. So it is all relevant to us. So we'll make it more relevant today, knowing that that's one of the first R's for knowledge retention. So it has to be relevant to today and to us. So I need this knowledge. It is critical for me. So all of us agree that understanding what is there in Srimad Bhagavatam is important and it's useful for all of us. Yes. Right? That's why we are here. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. We'll be watching the Qatar versus Switzerland game today, right? So it's relevant for us. Recall codes. So this is one way you can actually remember what you learned. Does not matter whatever subject it is. If you're able to recall with the acronyms that we use, or you may want to put, create some acronyms for yourself so that you will remember this more. So ISKCON is one. H2O is one. Water is short form as H2O. So I'm just giving an example. It's not like we're going to go through H2O and other chemical formulas today, but recall codes. Most important is also repetition. That means you're going to revisit it. So an example, Kirtan. How does the Kirtan flow? Somebody sings and other person repeats what the other person just chanted, right? Dinitaya will sing the first part of it and then everybody will join. Then he'll go to the second part and then everybody. So that's repetition. Japa, you're repeating the same mantra again and again and then teaching others. Once you teach others what you learn, you teach others, that is also repetition. In that way, you will retain. So whatever you learn, any subject, including classes that you hear, what you read, share it with others because that is a repetition and that will help you retain the knowledge. And what we do during the Srimad Bhagavatam classes is that we have a nice summary there. That is a repetition of what we went through. That will help you retain the knowledge. And the quiz as well that we usually have, which you have in your hard copy as well, that will help you retain. Next is review. view the content in many different angles. And that's exactly what we've been doing for 55 Srimad Bhagavatam Kathas here. Okay, so we'll be reviewing the contents in many different ways, many different angles, and we also have lessons to be learned. And it's not exhaustive list, right? Because what I may have in this, I have a lot of time to think through it from the previous Srimad Bhagavatam Katha to now. So I have more time. But then that doesn't mean it's all exhaustive, right? So you will learn it from your perspective, and there'll be additional lessons to be learned. That's why we spend time in the, at the end of each session, and we'll ask you what are the lessons to be learned from your point of view. So which is very unique, and we would like you to share that so that we will also add that to our lessons to be learned from these sessions. We also have group discussion. We are in a group and we want all of you to contribute. All of you are unique in your own ways. You are spiritually gifted to look at it in many different ways and also teach us what are the lessons to be learned from these sessions. There is also multiple choice questions, which is also you're reviewing the options and you're choosing. So that's also part of the knowledge retention. And you reflect, right? You internalize the learning and share at least one lesson with your family or with your friends. Again, that becomes repetition as well. So it's all interconnected here. So these are 5 R's for knowledge retention, whether you're trying to retain Srimad Bhagavatam knowledge or anything in your college or school as well. So this is very important. For those of you who have joined us in the journey from 2015, we started this. Several pastimes that we have covered, everything from Srimad Bhagavatam, but we go beyond Srimad Bhagavatam as well to have that comprehensive outlook of this pastime so that we get consolidated lessons to be learned from these wonderful pastimes. So there we are today, 55th session. Narada Muni visits Lord Krishna's palaces in Dwaraka. So far we have covered almost over 4,000 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam out of the 14,094 actual verses. So we've covered about 30% of entire Srimad Bhagavatam if you count verse by verse. If you count this, divide that by this. But in reality, we have covered over 76% of pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, it's going to be less and less, or we'll be covering, the percentage will go very in a fractional way going forward because there'll be bigger pastimes, so it won't be like next time will be 80, 85. So in the matter of maybe next 4 or 5 months, we will not cover all the pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam. But you are in this wonderful journey together. So we have achieved a lot in the last so many years that we have started conducting the Srimad Bhagavatam Katha. And again, the difference between the regular Srimad Bhagavatam classes is that one class of Srimad Bhagavatam will be based on one verse, but here we are covering the entire pastime in one session. So as we usually do, we'll chant in a devotional mood, we'll chant this mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 3 times. And again, for those of you who joined us newly or related newcomers, this is the background of this mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we chant together 3 times. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We will chant 2 mantras that are always chanted before every Srimad Bhagavatam class, and this is no different because this is a class which is an extended class, not just on one verse but the entire pastime. So we will chant this together, if that's okay. If you have not used to chanting this mantra before, again it's in English, it's a transliteration, it's not in Sanskrit, so most of us will be able to follow this and chant. If you've not done it, don't feel shy. This is an opportunity. All our devotees, if you make mistakes in your pronunciation, not to worry, but we're going to chant together. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udriyate.
Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and to Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Explanation if required, Srila Prabhupada is the Siksha Guru for all.
So he may not be the initiating guru, but he's the instructing guru for all of us. So even many of you may, or many of us are initiated by other gurus within ISKCON who are disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. They are all teaching us with one book or books written by one author, and that is Prabhupada. So everything is flowing from Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, he is the Siksha Guru for all. Diksha Guru is the initiating spiritual master. Siksha Guru is the instructing spiritual master for all of us. So what we have in the pictures is what is there in the description here. Lord Narayana, Narayana Rishi, Mother Saraswati, Vyasadeva, and Srila Prabhupada. This is actually a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. We chant this together. Nashta prayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttama shloke bhakte bhavati naistiki. Can you hear the English translation?
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
Thank you. And the word almost is here. And once you go through this chapter, second chapter, you will know when you get the complete thing. It's almost, but then what you have to do to get the complete benediction as well. So, for those of you who have not memorized these two verses, and if you're going to give any classes in ISKCON, you might as well memorize these two verses. Okay? So this is absolutely non-negotiable, mandatory two verses that you will have to chant if you're giving a class. So make a note of it. 1, 2, 4, Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, fourth verse, and the 18th verse as well. Okay? Prabhu, you made a note of it? For anybody who has to give a class, they have to memorize these two. And this is one of the most fascinating verses in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is also in the very beginning, it's the third verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, 1.1.3. If you are able to join and chant this verse, it will be really good.
Nigama kalpa taror galitam palam sukam nugat amrita grava samyutam pipata bhagavatam rasam alayam muhuraho rasika bhavaha.
Anybody would like to read the English translation?
I, worshipper and thoughtful man, release Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desert tree of Vedic literature. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shuddha Goswami. Therefore, this truth has become even more faithful for those lecturer, Jews who are already relatable for all, including liberated souls.
Including liberated souls. So this is for everybody, you, me, for all the great personalities who lived before us. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the desire, it's a mature fruit. Sometimes, when you say mature fruit, it's a ripe fruit, right? Mango, would you like to eat that nice and sweet and juicy or raw, right? So this is a mature fruit from the desire tree of Vedic literature. So this is the best of the best according to this particular verse, which is from Srimad Bhagavatam itself. And I always pick in verses that glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. So again, this class is no different. And for those of you who are keenly watching that, it's not like we present the same verses in this importance of hearing. It's always different. Okay. So for those of you who would like to read that, we'll be hearing from you. So without Bhagavatam, the cycle continues. Anybody would like to read from there? Yeah.
In the Padma Purana, Uttarakhand, chapter 63, it is stated, one continues to wander in the cycle of birth and death as long as he does not for even a moment hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, which was recited by Shukadeva Goswami. A person who does not hear anything from the Srimad Bhagavatam throughout his entire life is no better than a Chandala or an ass. The result of his birth was only by his mother's delivery pains. Indra, the king of the demigods in heaven, declares that the sinful man, who never hears the topics of Bhagavatam, is simply a burden on the earth. and although living, he is actually dead.
Wonderful, thank you. So this is not from Srimad Bhagavatam, this is from Padma Purana, a little strong, but it conveys the message. Thank God we are not at this because we have heard Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So we are not we are better than this, and we will not be in this realm of reality. So we have, I think, a couple of more verses. So Bhagavatam, protection for the faithful. I try to give a heading so it conveys the message. This verse explains why Bhagavatam it's protecting when we are faithful and warning for the neglectful. So these are the two verses from Hari Bhakti Vilas. So we get one more person from here. Anybody?
Bhakti Vilas 10.2.77, the supreme refuge in the age of Kali. In the age of Kali, one who considers Srimad Bhagavatam more dear in his own life will never suffer the punishment of the Ananada, even for 100 kalpas.
Yeah, so we saw the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam within Srimad Bhagavatam earlier. Then we are reading the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam from other Puranas and other scriptures and literatures. So we read from Padma Puran, and now this is from Hari Bhakti Vilas. So we'll get one more devotee to read this. Anyone? If you read this, we are going to get the benefit from you. So don't hold back. Yes, please. Little louder.
Hari Bhakti Vilas 10.2.81. One person's obstruction, 100 generations loss. The wretched person who does not appreciate the study of Srimad Bhagavatam and who hinders others in its study causes 100 generations of family members to go to hell.
So again, very strong messages, right? So in this age, we won't really have somebody who says, sorry, you cannot have Srimad Bhagavatam class in the morning or here. But the opposite is true. If you are able to aid classes like this, like Prabhu's, they print all these hard copies, they arrange the chairs, they arrange the tables, right? The temple opens the temple doors for all of us to come in, right? So those are all the things. So the negative is here, but the opposite happens when you make sure that Srimad Bhagavatam classes take place. So, we are going to read this sequence of events that Narada Muni saw that Lord Krishna is enacting in his household life in the 16,108 palaces. And this is from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, 10th canto is the biggest chapter. Biggest canto, I'm sorry. So it's got 90 chapters, it's got almost 4,000 verses, almost 30% of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam is from the 10th canto. And you can see here, so 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10 covers almost the entire, almost 80% of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. And for those of you who are relatively new, Srimad Bhagavatam has got how many cantos?
12 cantos.
12. Right at the bottom, the arrow stripe there. 335 chapters, 14,094 verses. Again, we have covered this few times. There are actually, Srimad Bhagavatam itself says there are 18,000 verses. But if you read verse by verse, if you count it, there are 14,094 verses. But that translates to 18,000 verses based on the Anushtup meter that, some of those prose lines in the 5th canto will be counted as more than one line for this 18,000 to take place. So the legend, you have seen this, black text is from the same pastime, purple text is from other scriptures, and red is commentary by our acharyas. This is the nomenclature that I use. SP means Srimad Bhagavatam, SP means Srila Prabhupada, etc. But I will again reiterate it as we go through. Right? So this is another slide that I always put out. Again, we are going to hear from Canto 10, which represents Lord Krishna's lotus face, 90 chapters, almost 4,000 verses, almost 30% of entire Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is the 29 years that, from 29 years to 125 years. So that means Lord Krishna spent 96 years enacted his pastimes in Dwaraka. And this is one of the pastimes that we are going to learn. Entirely we call it as a pastime, but there are a sequence of events that take place in various palaces. Now, I've summarized Lord Krishna's pastimes in Dwaraka. He's 96 years in Dwaraka, and this is in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the key pastimes when he lived there from his 29 years to 125 years. Before 29 years, where did he enact his pastimes? Just before that. Mathura. And just before that. Vrindavan collectively. They have Gokul, etc. But generally Vrindavan, we can call it. So these are the main pastimes from chapters 52 to 90 in Srimad Bhagavatam's 10th canto, where it all happened in Dwarka. And what I've highlighted here is what we are going to cover today. Narada Muni visits Lord Krishna's palaces. Okay, so there is something that happened before this, and that's what led to Narada Muni going to visit all of Lord Krishna's palaces. So the background pastime to this pastime is the killing of Narakasura. Anybody without seeing there, what's his other name? Anybody remembers? Narakasura. Okay, now you can see there and tell. Bhaumasura, because Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please come. So we'd like to give you the other names as well, because if you are reading some other book and they are referring to the name Bhaumasura, I don't want you to get confused, right? So both the names are the same person. So Indra requested Lord Krishna to go to present day Bengal. So for those of you who've been to India, don't think only Dwarka, Mathura, Vrindavan is holy place, even Assam, because Krishna has actually visited Assam in India. So Pragjotishapura is the present day Assam, and then he went to actually kill Narakasura, but Narakasura's mother is Mother Earth, and Narakasura's father was actually Krishna in a way, because it is Varahadev. Okay, so we covered this. So Narakasura had stolen Aditi. Aditi is the mother of all the Devatas. He had stolen the earring of Aditi, Varuna's umbrella, and Mani Parvata, which is the celestial playground situated atop the Mount Mandara. So maybe you think, what's a big deal? Umbrella, is it a big deal? You know, go to dollar store, so many umbrellas are there. But this is a very special umbrella, right? So when our scripture says, yeah, somebody's umbrella, Varuna is a very, very powerful personality. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, amongst so on, so he is Varuna, right? So it is said that this, usually you have an umbrella to protect yourself from. When I was driving, I saw a lot of people walking with umbrella to protect themselves from this hot sun. But typically it is used to prevent you from getting wet from rain. So, but this umbrella is very unique. It actually generates rain. So if there is no umbrella, Varuna's umbrella, then there is no rain. So that's what it says. So this is a very unique umbrella. And then don't think in terms of, okay, what's a big deal, earring for Devatas and the mother, let it be $1 billion, even, is that big thing for them? No, it's also the audacity, right, of somebody. It's like almost like going into White House and stealing the earring of, let's say, the First Lady, or going to Buckingham Palace and stealing something that belongs to the Queen, right? So it's much more than the value as well. So this had taken place, and then Indra comes all the way from the higher planetary system, and then he comes and offers obeisances to Lord Krishna, says, my dear Lord Krishna, these 3 things are stolen, please get it for us. So then Krishna goes with Satyabhama on the carrier called Garuda. So he goes on Garuda to Assam, and then eventually he kills the 5-headed Mura demon, who's like the assistant, you can say, of Bhaumasura, and then many others as well. And then he kills Narakasura, and then Mother Earth offers wonderful prayers, returns all the stolen treasures, and also Krishna protects Narakasura's son. And his name is Bhagavatam. This is not part of the quiz. For those of you who are here for the very first time, we have a quiz in the end, but nothing to worry, we will answer all of them together. So you mark the correct answer and you take it. 6 months later, you go through it for 5 minutes. All these entire pastimes will come back, rushing to your memory. So after that, the Lord liberated 16,100 princes who were imprisoned by Narakasura. And after restoring the stolen treasures to the Devatas in the Indraloka, he brought back Parijata tree as well for Satyabhama. There was a lot of fight going on, even though Lord Krishna actually did what Indra wanted, and he's taking all this like a courier, like a DHL courier, and he's taking it back to Indraloka and says, okay, you came down and you told me to go and retrieve all this. I've retrieved all that. Here, I'm a FedEx courier giving it back to you. What you should say, thank you very much. Can I do anything in return? And then actually he asked, I'm not sure whether he asked, then Satyabhama says, oh, this beautiful Parijata tree, can we get it? And then Krishna is ready to take that Parijata tree. And what does Indra do? Does he lovingly give it because he brought all this?
No.
He actually fights, right? So, I mean, there are many things that we have to learn from Indra, not only what to do, but what not to do as well, because he learned his lesson nicely, Hare Krishna. He learned his lesson nicely where? In the Damodar Leela pastime, right? Round about that Govardhan Leela, in that chapters, right? Round about that time, in the Govardhan Leela, he learned his lesson properly. He offered wonderful prayers, etc. But time changes, right? This is many years after that, so he forgot, and then he started fighting with Lord Krishna. Krishna defeats Indra, and then eventually brings the Parijata. We covered this pastime also in one of the Srimad Bhagavatam classes. So for those of you there, it's a good remembrance, right? And then he returns to Dwaraka, and then Lord Krishna marries 16,000 princes and expands himself into equal number of forms, residing with each queen simultaneously while perfectly performing the duties of an ideal householder. So this is the beginning of the pastime that we are going to cover today. Is everybody okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have to give you a background because you talked about 16,100, but did Krishna have 16,108 queens? I thought you should be asking that question. But anyway, so these are the first 8 queens before Lord Krishna actually saved the 16,100 they were not queens yet, and they prayed for Lord Krishna to protect them and get married to them, and that's what Lord Krishna did. So in the sequence, Rukmini was the first queen, followed by Jambavati. Jambavati's father's name was Jambavan. And does he play any role in Ramayana?
Yeah.
What is he? Is he a monkey? Is he
Bear. Bear. He's a bear.
Jambavan is not Hanuman.
Yeah.
He's a bear. Jambavan is a bear. So everywhere there is Vanaras, but here there is bear. And what does he do? The most significant trigger in Ramayana. So, Hanuman actually forgot everything because of a curse. Like we will cover all that maybe when we are covering the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where there is a beautiful Ramayana condensed summary that is there. One day we'll cover that in our Srimad Bhagavatam, and we expand it to maybe 3 or 4 classes and maybe cover the entire Ramayana if you are able to do that. So, because some of you have asked that, we'll try to do that. But anyway, in short summary, Jambavan actually, so this is how many khandas are there? So anyway, I'm not going to ask you a question. So basically you have Balakanda, then you have Ayodhya Kanda, then you have Aranya Kanda, then you have Kishkinda Kanda, then you have Sundara Kanda, the most beautiful part in Ramayana, Sundara Kanda, and then you have Yuddha Kanda, and then they say later part of it is Uttara Kanda. But again, officially in Valmiki's Ramayana, there are 6 sort of main khandas, right, or chapters, you can say, multiple chapters within that. So this Jambavan reminding Hanuman takes place in Kishkinda Kanda. Okay, so Kishkinda is close to present-day Hampi in Karnataka. That's the area there. Anyway, so here, Hanuman forgets everything because of a mischievous past. One of the sayings that cursed him that you will forget everything, and then you will be reminded by a great personality. Until then, you will forget everything. So anyway, they wanted to jump across this ocean as they move to the south, and then some of the Vanaras are saying, yeah, I can jump 10 yojanas, 20 yojanas, because there are 100 yojanas to cross, or 800 miles, and then somebody says, I can jump 20 yojanas. What happened 20 yojanas? 8 2s are 16, 116 miles, then what happens? He's going to fall into the water, right? He's not going to come back. Somebody says, I can jump so much more. Angada says, I can jump the entire 100 yojanas or 800 miles, but I can't come back. So then, at that time, then Jambavan says, Wow, when I was young, you would have seen many old sportsmen. When I was young, I scored that century, I scored that goal. So what? Who cares about your history? Now, who can go to the other side and get Sita? So then he says, okay, we have a great personality who's sitting quietly there who does not know his power, and that is Hanuman. And then he reminds Hanuman of his power. Who are we talking about? Who's reminding Hanuman? Jambavan. Jambavan is the father of Jambavati. And then Hanuman gets bigger and bigger, and the big leap he goes. Beautiful pastime, so we'll cover that on another day. But that Jambavati is the daughter of Jambavan, the bear. Satyabhama, and then we have, actually the second and third is, sometimes it's, whether Satyabhama is second or Jambavati is second is almost at the same time because it's the same chapter, right, 56. And then Kalindi, then it goes on, and then 16,108 more queens. So maybe we'll get Prabhu to read, or maybe Prabhu will get to read. Are you able to see this?
Yeah.
Okay. Just from the beloved consorts.
Yeah. The beloved consorts of Lord Krishna are of three kinds: the goddesses of fortune, the twins, and the milkmaid of Rajat, who are the foremost of all. These consorts are proceeds from Radhika. Just as the fountainhead, Lord Krishna is the cause of incarnation, so Sri Radha is the cause of all these consorts. The goddesses of fortune are partial manifestation of Srimati Radhika, and the twin are reflections of her and her images. Therefore, there are many manifestations of Srimati Radharani to assist in the Lord's pastime.
Wonderful. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I've taken this from the 90th chapter, 31st verse, and also from the 61st chapter as well. So Krishna had 16,108 wives and had 10 sons from each wife. If you have not taken a photograph, this would be a good one to take a photograph because you may not get this information that easily. So Lord Krishna had 16,108 wives and had 10 sons from each wife. That's 161,080 sons. And then, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, all those systems. And then, in this Bhagavad, Lord Krishna had 10 sons, which correlates from this 90th chapter verse, but also one daughter from each of Krishna's wives. That means Krishna had total of 177,188 children. Okay? Again, these are something beyond what we can understand. I'm just stating the
Just a quick question beyond this. Jambavan was in Ramayana, that means that was Treta Yuga.
Yes.
And then Jambavan's daughter, that's in Dwapara Yuga.
Yes,
So
actually,
he lived that many years?
he lived that long, and there are few Chiranjeevis. That means they are eternally living. Even Hanuman is eternally.
Yeah.
By the way, in this pastime, Jambavati pastime, so we covered that here. This is the pastime of Shamantaka jewel. If you remember, there is a jewel that Lord Surya had given, and then it gives immense wealth to the king. And there was so much of fight who has to own it. It goes from one person to another person, and finally Lord Krishna retrieves it from Jambavan himself. So it's not that Jambavan's daughter is alive, but Jambavan himself is very prominent in this 56th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, before as well and after as well. So he's one of those great personalities who live beyond the Yuga. This happened in, as you rightly said, Treta Yuga, after Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, then happened.
The end of Dwapara Yuga.
Yeah.
Towards the end of Dwapara.
Yeah, it is towards the end of the Dwapara Yuga.
So, Prabhu, the Jamanti age would be even much higher compared to the Krishna.
I mean, Jambavati's age,
Yeah.
but that we don't know, right? That it doesn't say, even because Jambavan lives long does not mean that his daughter was also older, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't say that, but again, for Krishna, even though he lived 96 years in Dwarka, he's eternally very young, right?
16,
So
15.
anyway, good observation. So Hanuman, he lives even today, right? So like that, Jambavan extremely long period of time.
Even Aswathama, right?
Aswatthama as well. So there are quite a few of them who live extremely long period. So again, chronological order, Rukmini's pastimes are beautifully described in the 52nd to 54th chapter, Jambavati and Satyabhama 56th chapter. I'm talking about the 8 queens, right? So if you want, because we're talking about 16,100 queens that were actually saved, who were saved by Lord Krishna in the Narakasura pastime. But he had already married 8 queens. And then if you're interested, we have covered that in our Srimad Bhagavatam classes, but I'm just going to put that so you can take a picture and quickly read that, so for you to remember that. So by the end of chapter 58, Krishna had married the 8 principal queens. Then comes Narakasura's pastime, right? He kills Narakasura, frees 16,100 captive princes. Then the princes pray to Lord Krishna to accept them. So again, these are important things, right? And then Krishna expands himself into 16,100 forms and marries each one of them. So after this, as a summary, 8 principal queens plus 16,000 rescued queens, total of 16,108 wives. So if you can read this one.
Why Narada visited Srimad Bhagavatam?
That's why we are doing, today's class is 10.69. Finally, we are getting there. Go ahead.
Narada's curiosity arose after Srimad Bhagavatam 10.59 when he heard that Krishna had married 16,100 rescued princesses in addition to his existing queens. He wanted to see how Krishna could simultaneously live with 16,108 wives in separate palaces, which leads directly to the events of Srimad Bhagavatam 10.69. Between chapters 59 and 69, there are other pastimes, Banasura,
Paundraka, Vivida, etc. I'm just saying, Srimad Bhagavatam is not necessarily in a sequential order. So if you're wondering, so all that, those queens were married or they were rescued here, right? And he also marries them. And then it's not that it jumps to from 10.59 to 10.69. There are other non-related pastimes that are beautifully described and then gets back to the continuity. Okay? Even Pracheta's pastimes are like that in the 4th canto. Okay, so Prabhu, we have this for you. Are you able to see this? As Prabhu is reading it in Sanskrit, this is actually the 6th consecutive month that Prabhu is sponsoring today's prasad for all of us. So today it's wonderful South Indian prasad, idli and vada and everything, completely sponsored by Varma Prabhu. So this is the 6th month in a row Srimad Bhagavatam that he is sponsoring. So thank you so much, Prabhu. Prabhu's read for his satisfaction. For those of you who would like to read this verse, it's similar to the melody, you can say, of Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham. Once you know that, then you'll be able to read this without it being a tongue twister. Okay? Yaniha Vishwa Vilatotpava Vritti Hetu Karmanyananya Vishayani Harishchakara Yasvangagayati Shrunoti Anumodate Bhaktir Bhave Bhagavati Yavargamane. Once more? Go ahead. Let's do together. Yani ha Vishwa Viloyatava Vritti Hetu Karmanyananya Vishayani Harishchakara Yasvangagayati Shrunoti Anumodate Bhaktir Bhave Bhagavati Yavargamane. Translation, Prabhu, will you be able to read this? Too small?
Lord Heart is the ultimate cause of universal creation.
Little louder if you can.
Yeah. Lord Heart is the ultimate cause of universal creation, maintenance, and destruction. My dear King, anyone who chants about, hears about, or simply appreciates the extraordinary activities you perform in this world, which are impossible to imitate, will surely develop devotion for the Supreme Lord, the bestower of liberation.
So this is actually a benediction for each one of you, each one of us, if I have to include myself, for hearing today's pastime or reading today's pastime. So this is exclusively for today's pastime. Okay, so this is not a general one. So congratulations to everybody. So here, the devotion is guaranteed.
And also, special month,
Purushottam month as well. So all of you are here giving us your valuable time, nothing like this, right? So if you're working for, anybody working for Apple, NASA, if you're working per hour, you may get what, $500, maybe sometimes $1,000. But if that's a rich, big company. Now, if you're working for the richest person in the whole universe of all universes, you're giving 3 hours for this person. So you're not doing anything to get anything in return, but it's a natural byproduct of the time that you're giving
For
to
the
God.
pleasure of Krishna.
Yes. Okay, so Narada Muni visit. So I just wanted to give an introduction to Narada Muni. So again, this is a condensation from many chapters. Sorry, it's not very clear, but from the 3rd canto, 7th canto, etc. I've condensed this in bullet points. So by the end of this slide, please take a picture. This will tell you everything about Narada Muni. Okay. So first life of Narada Muni, he was a Gandharva by the name of Upabarhana. He was very attractive and he was very pleasing to everybody, and he made a mistake, and because of that he was cursed to become a maid servant's son in his next life. So second life, he becomes a maid servant's son, and the fortunate part of it was they were serving the Brahmanas and then honoring the leftover prasad, and they were always hearing, the mother and the son is Narada Muni, always hearing about Lord Krishna that purified their hearts and awakened devotion. After receiving the spiritual knowledge from these traveling mendicants, and he lost his mother as well when he was a small boy because of a snake bite, and he fearlessly wandered everywhere. Through meditation, once he saw Lord Krishna in his heart, and immediately it disappeared, and the Lord instructed him with constant remembrance for him even at that time. He traveled chanting and glorifying the Lord, and at end of the life, he remembered Lord Krishna and he attained a spiritual body. Now third life, at the end of Brahma's day, Narada entered the breathing of Lord Narayan. Again, all this is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, I'm just condensing this. And after 4.32 billion years, took birth as the mind-born son of Lord Brahma. And as Narada Muni, he travels through the material and spiritual worlds, singing the Lord's glories and playing the veena. So again, we are hearing about Narada Muni in all the past times, and that is this Narada Muni, but we need to know his past as well. So it's a nice compilation of it for you to know about Narada Muni. Now, there are many pastimes of Narada Muni. All over Srimad Bhagavatam, you will hear about Narada Muni. Okay? Chitraketu's pastime. Remember, he brings his dead son back to life. Mrigari the hunter. Remember Mrigari the hunter? Hunter was killing all the animals, not killing, he was torturing them, and they are half dead, and eventually they died. So it's not a quick death, it was a slow death. They were suffering and putting through this torture. So Narada Muni said, if you do this, you're going to have a very bad life in next life. You're going to go through the same thing. And then he changed and he started chanting, and then he actually started jumping when he's walking, and then Narada Muni came next. So why are you jumping and walking? You're trying to dance or something? No. He was trying to avoid stamping on the ants. So he went to the other end of the spectrum. So he doesn't want to stamp an ant that is crawling by mistake. So that is the pastime with Mrigari. Valmiki, we already talked about Valmiki is the original author of Ramayana, right? And he was Ratnakar. He was also an hunter, and what he was doing, he was hunting for his family, selling. And then Narada Muni said, by the way, ask your family if they're sharing your sins, because you're killing all these animals and you're torturing people. He was also bandit, right? You're torturing people, killing people, animals. Go ask your family, why are you doing this? And he said, oh, I'm doing it for my family. Okay, go ask your family if they want to share your sins. So he proudly goes to his family, hey, I'm doing all this for you. If there are any sins, you're okay to share mine, right? They said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're the head of the family. Your job is to take care of the family. We don't care how you do it. If you're doing it the wrong way, that is up to you, but you're supposed to take care of it. So immediately he changed, and then he wanted to become good, and he asked Narada Muni, and Narada Muni said, chant Rama's name. And he can't chant Rama's name, and therefore he says, can you say Rama, Mara? Oh, Mara is okay, Mara. Keep on chanting Mara, Mara, Marama. It becomes Rama, right? And then until Guru, that's how Valmiki, and then we know the story. So again, many pastors he instructed Kayadu. Kayadu is the wife of Hiranyakashipu. So when she was pregnant, Narada Muni was there. He taught them devotional service, including the 9 forms of devotional service that he narrated the 9. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pal Sevan, Marchanam, Mandaram, Dasim, Sakima. That verse was actually not that he learnt in his school. He learnt when he was in the womb of the mother, Kayadu, and that was instructed by Narada Muni. So we can spend a lot of time in this, but also he's a spiritual master of Dhruva Maharaj. What is the verse that he gave Dhruva Maharaj? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We all chanted 3 times. Remember at the bottom it said? So, and then pastime with Nalakuvera and Manigriva, we know that. Prachinabarisha, Prachetas, and then Daksha too, he instructed all his sons. And then Narada Muni visits Lord Krishna in Dwaraka, today's pastime. And Narada instructs Vasudeva. Is this a spelling mistake? Usually we say Vasudeva. What is this? Father. Vasudeva is the father. Vasudeva is another name of Krishna. So if you have this long A, that's Lord Krishna. If the long A is not there, that is the father of Lord Krishna. And also he instructs Maharaj Yudhishthir in the 10th canto as well. Okay, so
2 questions.
Yes.
If you can allow. So in the previous slide, there were mention of one is transgression, and the second one is my question is Narada Muni of course came from the Brahma's mind. So is
he came in the Brahma's mind in the third, only the third. Yes.
So is he a Vishnu Tattva or a Jiva Tattva?
He's supposed to be a Jiva Tattva. Because he's coming from Brahma, right? He's a Jiva Tattva.
But what is the transgression?
But if you see, Lord Krishna says, among so and so, I am Narada. So it is much more than what we think, right? But also Lord Krishna says, amongst this animal, I am lion. So what he says, then we can't. If he says amongst the snakes, he's Vasuki. That means it doesn't mean that we have to go and fall at the feet of a poisonous snake because Krishna said it, right? Then we are going to get stung and die. So in every class, he's saying the best of it is represented by Krishna. That's the intent of Vibhuti, right? So that's what it is.
And what was the transgression he committed when he?
So he was actually, when they were glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was actually exclusively glorifying the Devatas, according to that first pastime, right? So that's when they cursed him. We all came here for glorifying Lord Krishna's Janmashtami. You're talking about some other Devata. There are X number of Devatas, right? So completely he was singing because he was a Gandharva. He can sing beautiful, and he was one of the most handsome personalities. It's probably the most handsome Gandharva ever. So there was ego and the pride that was there, but totally out of place in what they were trying to do. So collectively they cursed him. And as we know, a curse by great personality is always a blessing in disguise. We've seen it, all the curses are like that, right? So sometimes even in our life, if you go through a bad phase in our life, definitely it's for our purification and something good will happen because of that. You may lose a job, but then one door closes, another door opens, right? So it's always, anything that will happen is always for good. So you will not be able to understand it at that moment in time, but through the past times, you can see that any curse is always a blessing in disguise.
Suhadam Sarvabhutam.
Is a well-wisher of all the living entities, right? So sometimes the cancer needs to be taken out, not with a sponge, right? If somebody's got a cancer, or a thorn, you have to take the thorn with the thorn. Cancer, how do? They take a knife and they cut it, right? Or laser and they blast it. So you can't, sometimes it needs that type of reaction, right? So bigger karma that we have, if it has to go, then we'll have to go through that pain and then we are completely free from that ever again. So Narada Muni visits Dwaraka to witness Lord Krishna's divine household life with 16,108 wives. Okay, so Narada Muni had visited Dwaraka on many occasions because this is in the 69th chapter. But then he's already visited Dwaraka many times. But this time he's going specifically to see how is this possible that Krishna expands and he's living different. It's like watching a movie, right? Like if you see. In reality, this is nothing like a movie, but if you are going in an aircraft, I was going many years ago, there was one very famous Hindi movie. I forget the name. It was a very, it's a comedy movie. Okay, so it was a world famous movie probably about 10 years ago. I forget the name. But when we were sitting and watching, most of them were looking at the same movie, but everybody's got a screen, different screen, right? So the same person is enacting different pastimes in one way because at different times of the movie, right? 10 minutes into something, this person is saying, 20 minutes into something. So it's almost like that, but in reality here, Lord Krishna is enacting as completely different person in each one of the palaces, in each one of the queens here. So Narad Muni had visited Dwarka on 7 locations to give required information, but never desired to see the happenings in Dwarka, within the palace. But when he heard that so many people were talking about the glories of Lord Krishna's activities in Dwarka, he decided to see how Lord Krishna lived with so many wives as a householder. Yes?
So, Prabhu, Narad Muni is the third incarnation of Krishna.
Sorry?
Narad Muni is the third incarnation of Krishna.
In another way, yes.
Yes. In your way.
Yes.
Still, we are reading this.
Yes.
Is it only for us?
Correct. Yeah, very good point. So Narad Muni also knows past, present, and future, and he's always his role is an instigator. He's a catalyst. What is a catalyst? Catalyst means you add a chemical, the chemical reaction between these two becomes very fast. Okay? So what does he do? He will come and tell the other person who's actually looking for Varahadev, right? Who was looking for Varahadev? Hiranyaksha. I want a suitable person to fight. Oh, don't worry, you want a suitable person to fight? There is this person by the name of Varaha. He's right there, go and fight with him. So he will direct it towards that so that the end is very close as well. So same thing with Kamsa as well. So Kamsa knew which son was supposed to, the prophecy said what? Which son? 8 sons. But what did he say? Kamsa, don't just go with this 8 because in a circle, how do you say which one? So it could be first, second, don't allow any of these children to survive. Right? So he's always an instigator to make things happen, all for good reason. Right? Okay, so in contrast, there is also the Saubari Muni. If you remember, again, the pastime is he was meditating under the water for many years, if you remember. Then he saw the fishes were, together and things like that. Then he wanted to get married. He comes out and then he contacts Mandata, the king at that time. And then Mandata had 50 daughters. And then he becomes so young with this mystic power. He wanted to marry one of the 50 daughters. But all the 50 daughters said, we all want to get married to you. So he marries 50 daughters. But through some mystic potency, he was able to live with them. But there's a big difference between what Lord Krishna does, because Lord Krishna does as a matter of compassion for the 16,100 queens, because they wanted to be protected by Lord Krishna. Whereas with desire, Saubari Muni lived with the 50 wives as well. Right? So he had 50 wives, but Lord Krishna 16,100. Is that okay, the contrast?
Yes.
Okay. The opulent beauty, organization, and serene atmosphere of Dwarka. So this is explained in many verses. So I pulled some from the 50th chapter as well, because in the 50th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam is when actually Dwarka is actually created. Overnight it was created, if you remember. I have some information on that. So whatever is underlined here is what we need to be aware. So meditate on this. Don't think that this is only in the past. This will be in the future. This is there somewhere in some universe. So you're all devotees of Lord Krishna. If you pray to Lord Krishna, you will be part of Lord Krishna's pastimes and you will be in a beautiful place like this. And again, it's not for us to enjoy the beauty of Dwarka wherever it is right now, in whichever universe. It is to serve Lord Krishna. But just for you to understand, while its lakes crowded with blooming Indivara, Amboja, we may not even know what these are, but they are different types of lotuses, different colorful lotuses, right? Swans and cranes. Inside these palaces, the furnishings were bedecked with gold and jewels. There were 900,000 palaces. So if you say 16,108 only, Prabhu, you said, now why are you saying 900,000? 900,000 royal palaces were there, not necessarily queens were living in those, but there were palaces in this Dwarka, very opulent city. So the lotus is present in the lake at different colors, and each had its different fragrance. It's just when you think, just when you meditate on this, you get the benefit of, being in this pastime, right? So if you just meditate, just imagine there are two roses. Can two simultaneous roses, or maybe even different color roses, can it smell differently, the fragrance? But here it says lotuses smell, the fragrance is different. Yeah.
So such a beautiful city of Dwarka. I'm wondering why it's submerged in the water. Whereas, say, like for example, Sri Lanka, we can right now even witness. Okay, here is Ravan, here is
You cannot visit the
But Dwarka, why did it submerge?
So even in Sri Lanka, you don't see the majestic nature of Lanka. Now, if you read the Sundara Kandam, again, I don't know whether you were here when we talked about the 6 chapters of Valmiki Ramayana. Hanuman is actually stunned by the looks of Lanka. It's like mesmerized by the looks of Lanka. The Trikuta, this is a different Trikuta. It's not the Trikuta mountain in the Gajendra's pastime. So it's at the top of Trikuta mountain, and again, Hanuman is just cannot believe what he's seeing, the beauty of Lanka. Now, I've been to Lanka as well. You don't see that anymore because mainly in some parts, those you see it is also burnt, right? And we know whether it's the same Lanka or not. We've gone through this, and we also have this NASA pictures and everything. So let's not get into that. But again, everything has to end, right? Materially, everything has to end. The pastimes have to end. Everything has its end. It's just the different. Some of them are much longer. Some of them are shorter. So still you have the remnants of Dwaraka underneath, and still you have the remnants of the majestic nature of Lanka under Ravana when you go to those pastime places, right? In one of the places, maybe Prabhu will remember, Hanuman's feet is there. I don't know which part of Nurelia. Yeah, Hanuman's massive feet is there, right? So those are all to give us the confirmation that actually it took place, right? And again, we went through this with some videos as well. So it's not just the evidence after Ramayana, right? So even in the Kishkinda Kanta, right? How Sugriva was the son of sun god actually, right? So he's saying, go to the north and go, when you have that, the coordinates, it's all there, right? Now it's also there. So it's not just the evidence from underneath the ocean, but also the description of Sugriva sending this Vanaras to the north, west, east, and of course south party is the one that they eventually went to Lanka, right? But then you see north all the way beyond Pacific Ocean to different parts of USA, that part is also described. So now everything is connected together. So there is evidence, but we don't have what happened many, many years ago as it is. Right? So there's a lot of changes, some of them. So to answer your question, even Ramayan's thing is still there. Lanka, you don't have much other than the evidence of certain things, but there are some mountains with, we can talk about it later on, right? So we already discussed that. So there are remnants, but then not as it is, because time changes everything. Right?
So will it have any correlation between the pastime of Vrishnis to be annihilated, Gandhari's curse, and then the Vrishnis are all in Dwarka, and then therefore Dwarka also same. Any correlation?
I'm not too sure. I don't want to guess what the correlation is, but then when Krishna left, everything had to there. But then the evidence is still there, right? But for devotees, we don't even need the evidence, right? We go with the faith. But for those who are skeptical, the physical evidence is also there.
Yeah.
So the opulent beauty, organization, and serene atmosphere, right? So there are beautiful lotuses with different colors and different fragrances. So now this is the best that you can get that reflects the description, okay? So it took many, many trials for me to get the description into a photograph, right? So you will not find this anywhere. So this is a very advanced AI generation, right? So again, so it's basically reflecting the text that you saw there. Okay? So maybe you can take a picture of this, and then when you read the text again, it will beautifully make sense, right? You see the different colored lotuses, the swans that are there, you see this golden domes, the flags that are there, the white pavements that is there, the mountains, beautiful description. This is exactly reflecting the descriptions. So just meditate on this beauty of what Krishna had created. Actually, is it Krishna who created or who? By the name of, his name starts with V. Vishwakarma. So he's the one who created the Pushpak Vimanam as well. Pushpak Vimana is the flying aircraft or city that Ravana actually took Sita, and then actually it was the Vimana that Lord Rama actually took to come back, because time was running out, because at the end of that time, who's going to come in? Bharat is going to end his life if Lord Rama doesn't come. So very quickly he had to come. And the beauty, again, you have to read the Sundarakanda to know the beauty of this Pushpak Vimana as well as Lanka, right? This Pushpak Vimana is like, you go to, nowadays you would have heard, right? In some airlines, Delta or even, I don't want to say the names of the airlines, Prabhu's recording it, but in some airlines, even if you're a paid passenger, they'll pull you out and they put you out. Have you heard something? At least in the past, right? So the beauty of this Pushpak Vimana is, today, let's assume, maybe hopefully we come true. The Pushpak Vimana comes here, all of us are invited to go in, so we go there, and then suddenly, okay, everybody in Scarborough also can get into that Pushpak Vimana. The Vimana actually expands. So if there are 10,000 people, it expands to accommodate 10,000 people. So that's the description of this Pushpak. Just imagine Vishwakarma, the creator of all this. Not different from Lord Krishna in a way, right? Okay, so the city was filled with sounds of birds and bees flying. So just don't read it as it is. Just meditate on the picture of it, right? So the birds and bees flying about the parks and the pleasure gardens, and then blooming lotuses again. Maybe this is a good correlation. So maybe one person can read and another person can meditate on the picture. Will it be possible for you to read? Yeah. All of you can meditate on the picture as Mother is reading.
Narumuni visits Lord Krishna palaces in Dwarka, divine city of radiant splendor. The city was filled with the sounds of birds and bees flying about the parks and pleasure gardens, while its lakes, crowded with blooming lotuses, resounded with the calls of swans and cranes. Dwarka boasted 900,000 royal palaces, all constructed with crystal and silver, and splendorously decorated with huge emeralds. Traffic moved along a well-laid-out system of boulevards, roads, intersections, and marketplaces, and many assembly houses and temples of demigods graced the charming city. The roads, courtyards, commercial streets, and residential patios were all sprinkled with water and shaded from the sun's heat by banners waving from flagpoles.
Wow. I want to go.
Who wants to go there?
Yes.
So beautiful. So this is from the 50th chapter, right? So now we are in which chapter? Which chapter we are reading?
10.69.
69. I'm going back to 50th because that's when this Dwarka was actually created overnight. So here, to give you a quick overview of that, right? So Jarasandha attacked Lord Krishna the 18th time. So many times he keeps attacking, he fails, he goes back. Remember Jarasandha?
Yeah.
Okay? So Jarasandha prepared to attack for the 18th time. So 17th time, now it's the 18th time. But each time his army was totally destroyed. Then as Jarasandha prepared for attacking the 18th time, a warrior named Kalyavana came. And remember what I said about Narada Muni? He's an instigator, he's a catalyst. So what does he do? He was sent by Narada Muni to fight the Yadavas. So he may not, so he will connect, go, so that you can get killed.
Telephone exchange.
So to fight the Yadavas, 30 million soldiers were there with Kalyavana. So Krishna thought, from this side, Mathura is going to be attacked by Kalyavana. From this side by Jarasandha. So what does he do? He asks Balaram to take care of that city, and then he transports all the people who are there overnight. Dwarka is created, they transport. Just imagine, all of you go to sleep today, and then tomorrow morning you wake up and you are in Hawaii or something like that, right? Overnight they were transported because Krishna had to save them from this barbaric king. And that's when this beautiful city of Dwarka was created. So therefore the Lord constructed Vishwakarma a wonderful city within the sea as a safe haven for the Yadavas. Then he brought them all there by his mystic power. Okay, so this is the 50th chapter. Okay? Again, another beautiful picture of Dwarka, how it was based on the exact description. Okay?
Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes.
The question is, why did Krishna is all powerful? Why did he go to Dwarka, not just stay there and just defeat Jarasandha?
Otherwise, we won't have these pastimes, right? These pastimes for us to understand the potency of Lord Krishna, how he, enacted his pastime as a householder, so that we, as householders, can learn from Krishna's pastimes. Why we needed Bhagavad Gita, right? Why 700 verses, right? Right at the very beginning, Krishna says, I would have said, I'm God, I'm telling you do this, right? And so he says towards the end as well, you have this option, this, right? Okay, so still 50. So the gateway towers were topped with golden turrets touching the sky. So these are the turrets touching the sky. And the upper levels were fashioned of crystal quartz. The gold-covered houses were adorned in front with golden pots and on top with jeweled roofs, and their floors were inlaid with precious emerald. So these descriptions are not there for us to quickly go, let's look at what Krishna did next, right? There's a reason we have to park and appreciate the beauty, mentally visualize it. So to our aid, we have the picture there, right? So everything that is here can be read here. The stables for fine horses, all built of silver and brass. You see the horse here? Silver and brass here. All the stables for horse to be there. So one more beautiful picture of Dwarka as it was at that time. Okay? So first palace. So directly Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't say he went to Rukmini's palace, but our acharyas explain. So here Narada Muni entered one of the 16,108 palaces constructed by Vishwakarma, the engineer of the Devatas, right? So here, so I put this nice summary here if you want to take a picture. Vishwakarma is directly attributed to building Dwaraka. Let's read it together. Building Dwaraka, Lanka, Pushpaka Viman in Ramayana, Indra's assembly hall and Amaravati. Various divine weapons, you'll say, Vishwakarma created this. These are deadly weapons. So he's also able to create that. And many celestial palaces and cities. And so he's not a normal person.
Didn't he build Yudhishthir's palace?
Yes. So I just put it generally. Celestial palaces. Indraprastha, many more as well. But mainly I want to draw your attention to 1, 2, 3, and then also various weapons, because it's not very directly stated, but it's there. Okay, a few more. So actually in this first palace, right, the splendor of Krishna's jewel palace adorned with divine opulence, attendance, and enchanting beauty. I mean, you've heard of, I don't want to bring this again, but White House, okay? For those of you who've been to Washington, it is a historical place, right? We may not be able to go in, but it's a beautiful place. For those of you who've been to Buckingham Palace, again, you can't go in, but when you see the beauty, it's unbelievable. These are nothing, right, compared to the descriptions that are here. Again, just a contrast where we live and where one of the most richest or popular people will live, and then the next step or the highest level is this, right? So here, the floors glowed with perpetual brilliance. Again, in that place, Vishwakarma's another name is Tvashta. Okay, I did put that in the questions, so now I remember. Now retrospectively, I think I should have added that, because thing is, you'll hear Tvashta's name in Rigveda many times. Okay. Hanging strands of pearls, well-dressed maid servants. Okay, you'll see the picture here. Okay, so maybe we'll get one person to read this, and then others will look at the picture. Is that okay? Will you be able to read?
Supporting the palace were coral pillars decoratively inlaid with Vaidurya gems. Sapphires bedecked the walls and the floors, glowed with perpetual brilliance. In that palace, Tvasta Vishwakarma had arranged canopies with hanging strands of pearls. There were also seats and beds fashioned of ivory and precious pearls. In attendance were many well-dressed maidservants, bearing lockets on their necks. and also armor-clad guards with turbans, fine uniforms, and jeweled earrings. The glow of numerous jewel-studded lamps dispelled all darkness in the palace. My dear king, on the ornate ridges of the roof danced loudly crying peacocks, who saw the fragrant aguru incense escaping through the pillars of the latticed windows and mistook it for a cloud.
Okay, just internalize the beauty of Dwaraka. So even though you may have read this chapter or read 50th chapter, you would have gone through it very quickly. But if you put it in perspective, the actual best picture that we can generate to correlate with the description, that itself is a purification thing.
A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Right? So again, it's always not bad. Technology is not always bad. If you're able to use it the right way, good and bad, like the mind, right? You can use the mind for good things as well as for bad things. You can use technology for good things. Who can create a picture like this? It's possible only through artificial intelligence, right? You won't see it anywhere because I spent a lot of time fine-tuning it. Because my company actually deals with AI, so we can get all this better. Okay, so the devotional service of Krishna's queen amidst opulence and attentiveness. So his wife fanned him with a gold handle yak tail fan. Okay, look at this. So the wife didn't say, "Hey, maid servants, I have thousands of them. Please serve Lord Krishna." She is serving him personally, right? So that's a lesson for all of us, right? So again, she used fanned him with gold-handled yak-tail fan, and constantly attended by 1,000 of maidservants equal to her in personal character, beauty, youth, and fine dress. So all of them are there ready to serve, but who's serving? The wife is actually serving Lord Krishna. So our Acharya has explained that Lord Krishna subtly made Narada first enter Rukmini's palace, because Lord Krishna orchestrates everything. Even though there were servants, Rukmini personally served the Lord. Lesson: serving the Lord personally brings purification and special realization to the heart, gives room to become nearer to the Lord as well.
Same thing with Yashoda Mai. She was churning butter in, leaving thousands
of them. She was doing
herself.
it because she wants to do that personal service to the Lord, right? So again, for those of you, some of the devotees, you may be very opulent and rich, so you want to serve the Lord. Okay, one of the priests, I'm going to pay the priest, come and do arati in my house. You can do that, but which is better? Somebody doing it for you, or you doing it? If you're able to do fire sacrifice by yourself, why get someone else? You do it. And that's why we make it a point when you're doing fire sacrifice, we get the Yajaman to offer the ghee. Right? So you need to get the benefit, direct service. Right? So even if we orchestrate a fire sacrifice, we don't do that. We are just a coordinator of that. The Yajaman will do it, so you get the benefit, personal service. So Lord Krishna bowed his head at Narada Muni's feet and had the sage sit on his own seat. So this is what humility is, right? He rose, Lord Krishna rose at once from goddess Shri's bed, bowed his crowned head at Narada Muni's feet, joining his palms, had the sage sit in his own seat here. Okay? Can you see this picture here? It's not the other way around. And see who's blessing whom. It's not Krishna's blessing Narada. So Krishna takes this humble position. What is he doing? He's teaching us what we need to do when there is a saintly person coming. Okay? So again, Krishna is teaching us how to be a householder. Yeah, you see many pastimes, right? Sudama. And I think I have one slide where he respects all the Brahmanas as well, right? So here, Krishna is getting the blessings from Narada Muni. Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmanya Hitaya, Jagatitaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. So he's the well-wisher of cows and Brahmanas. History of Lord Krishna. This is where it is. Maybe, can somebody read just these 3 bullet points? Anybody? Yeah.
History of Lord Krishna worshipping Brahmanas. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:22. Rukmini Pansat.
worships Brahma, who was the carrier of letter.
You remember there is a modern place, it's a love letter that Rukmini gave. So then this Brahmana takes it to Lord Krishna. And what did Lord Krishna? He doesn't take the letter and ignore this person and say, okay, this is the cut. No, he offers respect. He touches the feet of the Brahmana. And then
10.80.
Oh, sorry, Mother was reading. Yeah, go ahead.
10.80. Sudama Vipra pastime. When Susama visits
Lord Krishna's.
Krishna's palace in Dwaraka, Lord Krishna offers obeisances, washes his feet, and sprinkles on his head. Lord
Sim-
Krishna's head. Bhagavatam 10:89. Basically, 10:69. Lord Krishna worshipped Narada Muni when he visited.
Which is this. So similar, right? So he gives the respect to the Brahmana. So I didn't forget that.
Carrier.
So this is the value add, right? So we compile everything together from other parts of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we know it's not just one off here, right? So in other parts of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna exactly does that. Yeah. Prabhu pointed that out.
You never forget it. Very good.
I have more time, right? When I'm putting this together, so I
Nice
have
for
few
our,
weeks,
our,
right?
our benefit, right? So nice.
So Lord Krishna's humble worship of Narada Muni by bathing his feet, the supreme honors this devotee as Brahmanya Devaya and asks, what may we do for you, our Lord and Master? So who's saying our Lord and Master? Not Narada Muni to Lord Krishna. Krishna is telling Narada, our Lord and Master. So he takes that householder's position. So today Krishna does everything, teaching us how we need to behave. Put it that way. Okay, so that's the lesson today. So Lord Krishna's own lotus feet are the source of the most holy Ganges. The Lord did not have to purify himself by bathing Narada Muni's feet and sprinkling that water, right? It's the other way around. He washed the feet of sage Narada and took the water on his head. Narada did not object, knowing well that the Lord did so to teach everyone how to respect saintly persons. Okay? So other question is, how come Narada Narada is happily saying, okay, wash my feet, right? So because he knows that this is being taught to devotees of ISKCON Scarborough, right? The verses here. How's this picture? This is exactly what had happened here. It's not like Narada Muni is ignoring him by playing some Katha Kirtan here, but Narada Muni is always symbolized with this veena, right? Narada said, you descend by your own sweet will to bestow the highest good. So he said, you descend by your sweet will to bestow the highest good of the universe by maintaining and protecting it. This is one. Let's read this verse together. Yada yada hi dharmasya glane bhavati bhavata
abhyudhanam tadatmanam srijamyaham.
Continue.
Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practices, O descendant of Bharata, when a predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself.
So that is what is Narada is explaining. So I just extracted that particular verse, right? Narada requests Lord Krishna to only grant him the wish to always think of the Lord when he travels. So he asks, what do you want? I only want to remember you wherever I travel. Okay? So this is our Acharyas explained. Narada asked for the highest benediction from the Lord, which is what he had asked. Anything less is asking the rich man some ashes. Bill Gates comes. I don't want to use him, he's in some controversy. Which is the rich man that we can give an example?
Elon Musk, trillionaire.
Okay. Yesterday IPO and everything. Okay, let's take him. So he says, Prabhu, Amal Tagore, Prabhu, what do you want? Right? Even if you, let's assume that he's ready to give so much. Even if you ask $1 million, it's nothing because he's the first person to go trillionaire. So even asking 1 million may not be too much, right? So Krishna, if he's a trillionaire, what is Krishna? Right? I don't know whether there is a word for that for Krishna. So asking Krishna for something else other than remembering which is the highest may be like asking a rich man some ashes. So he goes to the second palace, and our Acharya has explained it is Satyabhama. And what was Lord Krishna doing here? So this is something that we touched this last time. There is a little bit of room for us to have something other than devotion as well in our normal household work. So that's mainly why I want to bring this chapter here. What was Krishna doing here?
Playing dice.
This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. What was he doing?
Placing dice.
Playing dice. You can say it's like chess, right? So it's one of the sports.
That recreation.
Recreation, sixth chapter, what does it say? Balanced recreation is okay, right? But that's not an excuse. Prabhu, what about your chanting? Prabhu, I need to watch some soccer World Cup, so I cannot do. That's not what it is, right? But little bit of that is needed for the household work, right? It is needed for the household life. So here, playing dice with his beloved consort, which is Satyabhama, and friend Uddhava. He's playing with his friends and wife. So don't think God, and again, why Krishna enacted these pastimes? To show us how to lead a balanced householder's life. So don't feel guilty if you have to do something, which is of a positive nature, okay? As soon as Narada Muni exited the residence of Rukmini, he immediately entered another palace, not knowing it was Satyabhama's residence, because clearly Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't name our Acharya's name. Right? Narada understood that Lord Krishna was simultaneously present in both palaces, because when he went from one palace to another palace, Krishna didn't jump and go before him to the other palace, right? To show that he's there in all the palaces. Is Krishna in different palaces doing different things. So, in great astonishment over Lord's activity, the next question is, why did the Lord ask him, when did you arrive, etc.? When Narada Muni came, oh Narada Muni, when did you come? How are you? Why did he ask that? Krishna knows everything, right? So our acharyas give a small thing. As you surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. So Narada Muni is acting without letting Krishna know why he is visiting him. So Krishna is also reciprocating in that way, right? So our acharyas are very beautifully explaining all this. So our acharyas explained, except for Rukmini and Satyabhama's palace, Narada Muni did not spend any time but quickly going in and out of the remaining palaces, right? About 30 palaces. So in the third and fourth palaces, Lord Krishna was playing affectionately with his children and preparing to take bath. That's like what we do, right? If we have children, what do? So again, don't ignore your children. That's the lesson from here. Sorry, I have to chant today. I cannot play with you, right? So that's part of our normal roles and responsibility of a householder. Krishna is doing that. He's playing affectionately with his children and preparing to take bath, right? So in the next four palaces, the Lord was offering oblations into fire. Our Prabhus are there at the back. What is Lord Krishna doing?
Swaha.
Swaha, right? So we also put Prabhupada's pictures last time, right? He's offering so many fires. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. We're back up, right? So in the Lord Krishna is in one palace. The Lord was offering oblations into the sacrificial fires. In another, worshipping through the 5 Maha Yagyas. We'll get to that in a minute. In another, he was feeding the Brahmanas. Feeding is not necessarily like feeding the baby, right? Like you're serving the Brahmanas for them to have prasad. And yet, eating the remnants of the food left by those Brahmanas. Remember how Narada became Narada? Remember the 3 lives of Brahmana? The second life, what did he do?
Mendicants.
Remnants of the
Mendicants.
traveling mendicants, right? So Krishna is doing the same thing. He's teaching us how to follow his principles. So what Lord Krishna is doing? Offering oblations into the sacrificial fire. So this is he's offering 5 Maha Yajna. So it is said as a householder, all of you are householder, right? Can we say that? Man, women does not matter. You have father, mother, husband, wife, children, no children, still you're all householders. There's no sannyasi, there's no brahmachari. We are grihastha. So we are all supposed to follow 5 yajnas every day. Now don't get scared when we say 5 yajnas. We saw the previous picture, Krishna offering, that is one type, maybe second type. No, it's nothing to do with fire sacrifice. Yajna means sacrifice. So it says we have to do 5 Maha Yajnas every day. Because inadvertently Prabhu came by car, right? When we come by car, what happens? How many insects get hit on the windshield and dies, right? When we are walking, we stamped on top of many ants. We are not like Brigari, changed Brigari, jumping over to prevent ants from getting. So inadvertently, we are making so many mistakes. Like somebody's actually wanting to go faster, 1-lane road. I'm strictly following 40 kilometers per hour. This person's, he's a doctor, he's going to save somebody's life. He cannot go. He's cursing me, right? Can this guy not go a little far? So even when you're following the rules, sometimes inadvertently we are creating some mistakes, right? We are preventing someone else from getting the treatment because of, we don't know that. We're still supposed to follow the rules, but there are many circumstances beyond our control, right? So we commit so many sins. So Lord Krishna was worshipping through the 5 Mahayagnas. I've taken this from the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhu, can you read this?
7.14.14. An intelligent person should be satisfied with eating prasada, food offered to the Lord, or with performing the 5 different kinds of yagna, panchasuna. By such activities, one can give up attachment for the body and so-called proprietorship with reference to the body. When one is able to do this, he is firmly fixed in the position of a Mahatma.
So 5 kinds of sacrifice. One more verse, at least the Sanskrit part of it. The English.
One in the Grahastha order of life should daily worship the sages by Vedic study, the forefathers by offering the mantra Swada, and demigods by chanting Swaha, all living entities by offering shares of one's meal, and human beings by offering grains and water. Thus, considering the demigods, sages, forefathers, living entities, and human beings to be manifestations of my potencies, one should daily perform these 5 sacrifices.
So, who's teaching that we have to do? Everybody sitting here in Scarborough. Krishna is teaching Uddhava that everybody here should do these 5 things. They should offer their worship or what they need to do to the devatas, to the sages, to the forefathers, to living entities and human beings. Okay, so you'll get a complete picture by the next 2 slides. Okay. Pancha means 5, Runa means debt. So we are in debt every day towards God and His servants. Okay, devatas, Deva Runa. So we have that. We are indebted to the parents and ancestors. We are at the end of the line. If you have to make this, how many of you have watched manufacturing operations? So if you have to make this, you start from resistor capacitor into a printed circuit board, you put solder, paste, it goes through an oven, gets solidified, then wave, solder, etc., etc. The very end product is this. So all of us sitting here are the end product of our family generation. Your father, grandfather, grandmother, etc. We are the end result of this. We are this. But without them going through the initial steps, we are not here. Same thing with saints and sages, right? How did the saints and sages help you? Well, you're reading Bhagavad Gita and you're trying to follow that. And some sage wrote that. His name is Vyasadeva. What have you done for him? You bought the book for $10. But what have you done for Vyasadeva? So you have to, from your heart, you have to be grateful for what the sages. Even your grandmother said, don't steal. Don't do bad things. They are all getting it from scriptures which were written by saints and sages, right? And then other human beings. If other human beings are not there, can we be sitting together today? Your shirt, right? This is an example I like to use. A shirt or whatever dress that we are wearing. How many people would have contributed for us to wear what we are wearing? Somebody putting the cotton tree first, cotton to grow, watering the cotton. Right? He may have got pricked by the thorn, blood was coming and everything. He sacrificed so much. Then somebody in the manufacturing line, they're making this dye, color, cutting it. The scissor is made by someone else in some other country. It's mind-boggling when you think how many fingerprints will be there just for us to eat a plate of food, just for us to wear something. So we are connected with every human being in a way. Right? So it's not just when you pay something for the shirt, you're squared off as far as karmic reactions are concerned. Other human beings and other living entities as well. If there are no bacteria and viruses, there are good bacteria, good viruses as well. If they're not there, we'll be dead as well, right? So we are always indebted, and that's what Krishna is saying. So Devaruna, worship the Lord, go to the temple, perform havan, chant the holy names, visit holy dhams, take bath in holy rivers. All of them are part of how we can repay the debt to the devatas. Okay, some examples. Everybody's okay? So how can you offset? This is what Krishna is saying. As a householder, as a grahastha, you need to repay the debts to the devatas. How do you do that? By doing some of them, or all of them, whatever we can. Pitru Runa, debts to the parents and ancestors. Take care of your parents who are alive. Okay? Call them. If they are in a different country, call them. Any help that you can do, help them as much as you can. And make them happy. Perform Shraddha ceremony for departed parents or ancestors. Prabhu, if there is anything for devotees to drink, some tea or something, can you give it? Oh, you make. Oh, good. So, parents, so it is said, in September time, we have done this once year, how we offer tarpana. Were anybody part of it here? We did the tarpana for the ancestors here, I think 2 years ago. So, yeah, some of you were here. It's very transformative process, okay? It is said that we say, oh, our bad luck is some karma. Actually, our acharyas explain that it is the ancestors who are unfulfilled. We go through some problems as well. So just by making your ancestors, you may not even know them, right? But then they have done so much before your birth, during your birth, now they are not there. Nobody is there to offer, the black sesame or water or pinda. They are all suffering, right? If you do that once, they will be happy. So it's our duty to take care of parents and the ancestors. Just imagine when we were little boys and girls, if they didn't inoculate us, we would have had cholera, diet, whatever it is, we may have died. Right? When we were crossing the road, just like a puppy dog, right? Puppy dog, you don't say go cross the road, right? So you hold, the dog in a leash and you go like that. The parents were carrying us and protecting us. We can't forget all that, right? So these are big things that they have done for us. So always take care of your parents. If they need any help, that's our duty to take care of our parents. I'm not saying this. Who's saying this? Krishna is saying this. Rishi Runa. So read the scriptures because they have given the scriptures to us. Rama, and we talked about Rama. Read the scripture, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. When you read it, you're repaying the debts to them. That's what they want you to do. They want you to read the scriptures that they have painstakingly put together. Read the scriptures, that's one way. Because you can't say, okay, I want to wash the feet of Vyasadeva. You can't, right? Vyasadeva is not there. So what else can you do? You read the scripture.
I think you are carrying over
Yeah. Yeah, Rina, Runa. I just put it so that the pronunciation is common to everybody. Rina, sin or debts. Yeah. Then it is Manusha Rina. So debts to other beings, right? So we just talked about a plate of food comes because of effort of so many humans in so many countries, right? So just the rice. Today we'll be having, I think, what was that program? Idli, right? Just imagine that may be coming from Sri Lanka, Somebody, the bag where the rice goes in may be built in Bangladesh, right? It could be many, many different countries, so many people putting things together. So Manisharuna. So how you offset that? Feed prasad to guests. Assist the neighbors. In a flight, right? I always look for an opportunity. There's always this older lady or older Prabhu, they bring such a heavy hand luggage, right? They need help to always put it up, and then 100% they need help to take it out, right? Small thing, it's not a big deal, right? You always look for it, and then don't let them struggle and turn this side, right? Because you also need to do all this, right? So look for an opportunity to help them. Right? Somebody wants to go, it's a connecting flight. Tomorrow actually I'm going to Dallas, right? So it's a hub where people will get down and then they have to take another flight. So if you are at the front and somebody is trying to go, they're going not because of anything else, they have to take the next flight which is in 10 minutes. Allow them to go, right? Like do whatever you can in every step of your way. Somebody's trying to overtake, allow them, be nice. Somebody allows you to overtake, be thankful to what they have done. It's many ways we can do, right? So many, many examples. I take a picture, we don't have time to go through it. Bhutaruna is debts to other living entities, animals, plants, trees, right? We talked about if there is no oxygen given by the trees, we will not be alive. So we are indebted to every tree. So do me a favor, anytime you go, pay your attention to the beautiful trees and the leaves and the flower and see how your life changes, right? From tomorrow onwards, when you go, just look at the beautiful colored texture, of the flowers, fruits, etc. and you'll see how your life changes miraculously. Just a small thing, right? Because we are indebted and you're appreciating what is giving you what you need, and also you're giving that glory to the creator of that beautiful nature as well. Okay? So what you do is you can reduce the use of plastics, support protected cows, take care of tulasi, decrease consumption of valuable resources, water, electricity. It does not matter where you are in a hotel. If you're brushing your teeth, keep the tap open, close it, right? So it's all from one source, right? So small things. Nobody's watching you. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's watching you, right? So these are all, even doing that. Now when you see in modern world, if you're in work, they'll say reduce electricity, recycle plastic. It's all connected to what Krishna wants us to do. Follow? So it's very beautifully connected. Now somebody may remember this verse. If you are performing devotional service, are we in debt to the devatas, other living entities, forefathers, etc.? I am worshipping Lord every day. I am doing 16 rounds of chanting. So why would I have to take care of my parents? Why would I have to take care of Tulasi? This is the verse, right? But you have to understand the context. Devarsi bhutapta drinam pitrinam naki karonayam vrinicha rajan sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukuntam pariritya kritam. So, if you can read the English.
Okay. One who has given up all material duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately.
Now this is important in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam tells you what to do, tells you what not to do. But also if you read the translation, I think one of you read 1.1.3. What is that verse? Nigamatarpaka taror galitam palam sugahura amata dravasamitam vibata Bhagavatam rasamalayam urava rasika. It is also relished by liberated souls. This is for you and me, or this is for liberated soul, this verse. Why? Because it says, one who has given up, not some, not few. What was the word here? All material duties, and has taken
Full shelter of the lotus
keyword, full, all. Can somebody confidently raise your hand and say, you have given up all material duties?
Can I know the number of the shloka? Very important.
Very good.
Okay,
Mystically done. 11:5:41. Okay, this is Narada Muni to Vasudeva. So the key word is given up all, taken full shelter. So first part of it, nobody put your hand up. Nobody's given up all the material duties. How many of you have taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Mukunda? Some, yes. I mean, we've all done something, right? We don't know that something is 0.1 so far, 0.2, or positively thinking maybe 5% what we have done. But irrespective of that, definitely we all can agree that we have not taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda. Yes? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what does that mean? So if you do this, then don't worry about devatas, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, the Pancha Maha Yajna, don't worry about it. But if you are not there, then you have to do it. You can't just say, I'm chanting 16 rounds. You are in between. You can't just do a little bit of this and say, I will not do anything that is supposed to be done. Okay?
I think only sannyasi not in mind.
Only sannyasis would like.
Hopefully, if they are also completely done that and completely. So nobody will be confident enough and say that I don't need to do that. Right? So it's better to do this. You all time. I have time. It's not like 24/7. You're all chanting. How many of you are chanting 24/7 or worshipping the Lord or doing fireside? We all have time to do other things. Okay? Other things means important things that are mandatory. Okay. So examples of, so one of the thing is offering Shraddha ceremony. Shraddha is for your departed ancestors. So I want to insist that this is something that we don't touch upon very often. I'm not going to go through these examples. Take a picture, take a printout and keep it in your wall. Okay, post it in your wall. These are painstakingly, I've taken the examples from our scriptures. Okay? The Vedic scriptures consistently emphasize the duty of honoring departed relatives through funeral rites, shraddha, tarpana, and remembrance. These practices were observed by devotees, kings, sages, incarnations of the Lord, and even demons, demonstrating their universal importance within Vedic culture. Okay? I've given examples from Ramayana, Kishkinda Kanda, Ayodhya Kanda, more from Kishkinda Kanda, from 7th canto, 10th canto, 9th canto, 4th canto. Chaitanya Charitamrita spread all over. Lord Krishna is doing it. For Jatayu, Lord Ram is doing it. Sampati is doing it for the brother Jatayu. You can see it all over our scriptures. Right? Any questions on this? Okay, so in the 9th and 10th palace, Lord was chanting Gayatri mantra and then worshipping the sun. So don't think, oh, I thought sun was a demigod, right? Krishna is doing this, okay? Worshipping sun. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. We're not making things up, okay? Krishna is chanting Gayatri, Krishna is worshipping sun god, and he's practicing sword fight. Okay, some of you may practice cricket, hockey a little bit, but in this case it's more connected to the duty of a Kshatriya. He has to protect, so he has to practice, he has to be in top form, right, before a war comes. So that is what Krishna did. Gayatri mantra, it's revealed by Vishwamitra. So this is in the 3rd mandala, Sukta 62, verse 10. We know it's confidential, but it's also open. But this is Vishwamitra's story. He was a king before and he competed with Vasishta Muni. He wanted the cow, Nandini. You remember that past time? Nandini was a cow. Cow usually gives what? Milk. But this cow, hey Nandini, can you make just sweet rice or the idli and vada? We had to get from that Mataji's house, but can you make idli and vada and sambar and chutney for 10,000 people? Right away, instantaneous. And Kamadenu cow Nandini. Then this Vishwamitra as a king is saying, you are a priest. Why you need this powerful cow with you? For sacrifice and everything, you can go get the, from other cows, you can get the milk and make ghee and everything. I need it because I need to protect the country. You don't need this cow. And he's trying to forcefully take the cow. There's a beautiful pastime in Ramayana, it's explained wonderfully well, but in Srimad Bhagavatam 9th canto as well. But eventually he falls, for anger, attraction, we know this Ramba and the other pastimes as well, right? So eventually he became the greatest of saints, and then he's the one, I use the word very carefully here. Vedas are always eternally there, right? This is like almost like a radio, right? We have a radio equipment. I know we don't use that very often, but you tune it, right? And then that channel comes and then you are able to hear it. Right now the waves are there, radio waves are there. Can you hear any songs? No, you need that equipment. He was an equipment. He was like the radio to fine tune it and get what is in the ether. There are many sages who revealed Vedas to us, but the most powerful mantra is by him. Then in another palace, 11th and 12th, Lord was riding on animals, right? So children or your children are there, you go to a beach, there is horse riding, there is camel riding if you go to Dubai as well, right? And was resting on the beds when the bards are professionals, right? Or they are the experts in, chanting, or they're poets, right? You can say Shakespeare is a bard as well, right? In that way. Okay, so quickly going through the 13th and 14th palace, he was consulting with royal ministers, and like Uddhava, and in another place he was enjoying in the water. So again, these are normal things that householders will do or would have done it. Again, don't feel guilty if you are doing it in the right spirit. So this Krishna is enacting all these pastimes for us to follow him. Okay? So So the phrase enjoying in the water refers to royal water sports, right, with his queens and companions, a recognized form of recreation in ancient royal culture. The text presents this as part of his household pastime, not as mundane sensual indulgence or something. So again, we need to understand that. In the next two palaces, he was donating cows to the Brahmanas, and in another, he was listening to the narrations of epic histories and Puranas. Let's stop here for a second. Krishna is hearing histories and Puranas. So Purana is Srimad Bhagavatam. What is it called?
Amala Purana.
Amala Puran. And what is the other name of Srimad Bhagavatam? What Purana? Bhagavata Purana. Okay, then we had another one from Padma Purana. We have Skanda Purana. We have so many Puranas. And what Lord Krishna is doing? He is hearing the Puranas. And what all of us are doing? We are hearing a Purana as well, which is Bhagavad Purana. So Krishna is doing that to show us what we need to do as householders. So when I was, this was probably about 20 years ago, I don't want to say which temple, when there are Sunday feast classes, everybody just before the class can start, they will go to do other services. They can't stay for the class. Okay? Then the Puranas are going, no, I have to go do that service. No, only when you hear the Puranas, you'll know the glories of Lord Krishna, right? And whomsoever you are listening. So don't miss hearing the pastimes of the Lord from the Puranas. Why? Krishna is also doing that. Okay? So Bhagavatam repeatedly highlights how devotees give freely, generosity, right? So last time, the previous time when we had the Srimad Bhagavatam, how much Mother Yasoda was donating. You remember? We covered all these pastimes. She was giving so much of wealth to the Brahmanas. Hello, anybody? Remember? Last time, previous time, last month, Mother Yasoda was giving so much to the Brahmanas, right? Charity is very important. Remember we covered? Maybe next slide you will see more. Charity is more difficult than austerity. Remember we covered this?
Yes.
So if you ask somebody to stand in one leg and chant, for 10 minutes they will do. But you say, give $100 as charity? No. So austerity is more easier than charity in reality. When it comes to giving what we earned is always a problem. And that's what the scriptures say, give. Money or wealth is like blood, it needs to keep flowing, otherwise it will be like blood clots. So don't hold back when you have a chance of giving for a good cause. Okay? So this is the beautiful description here. It comes back, however smaller amount you give, that gift will award them great gain in the next life. This is repeated again and again in the scripture. I'd like to put this again. Remember last time also I put few classes ago. The many names of money. It's called salary, it's called wages, allowance, loan, interest, rent, price, tips, ransom, bribe, donation, offering, fee, premium, capital, dividend, goes on and on and on and on, right? So from ethical, social, spiritual, to the needy, it's charity. To the beggars, it's called alms. In gratitude, it's called dakshina. Voluntary payment for a service rendered, honorarium. Right? So we have so many other names, but we hold on to that, right? So in the next few, he was jokingly speaking to his wife, engaged in ritualistic functions, engaged in matters of economic development, and in another, enjoying with his family according to the religious principles of the Shastras. I put some examples here. Ritualistic functions means, again, going back to Vedic sacrifices. You remember Krishna was offering ghee, worshipping, chanting Vedic mantras, carrying out various samskaras. Samskaras means, you have 16 main samskaras, right? Garbhadan samskara, then we have Pumsavana, Namakarana, we have Chudakarana, shaving of the head when the child is about 1 year old. Then Annaprashna, first grain giving ceremony for the child. All of you would have gone through that, you may have forgotten. So these are all samskaras. So these are all the ritualistic ceremony. When rituals are offered to the Lord, ritual becomes spiritual. Okay, so two different ritual, but you want to make it spiritual. In the next two palaces, he was sitting alone, meditating on who? On himself. So again, he's showing us what to do. So meditate on the Lord. Krishna is showing it by his personal example here. And in another, he was rendering menial service to the elders. He's God. So one other example is Prabhu is here. He's almost 93, right? He is eager to come to ISKCON Scarborough. He lives probably about 15 minutes from here, 10 minutes, 15. Many of you may be in his neighborhood. This is Krishna is giving an example here. If you have an opportunity, take Prabhu's number. Prabhu, tomorrow Scarborough program is there. Srimad Bhagavatam class is there. Or special event is there. Prabhu, will you be okay? Are you wanting to? Do you want to come to Scarborough? I can come and pick you up. Where are you? 80 Ria Jessica Drive. Okay, Prabhu, I just picked him up from there. You have a great opportunity, right? Like he's been doing so much of service for the Lord. If you are not able to do it, at least this service will connect you to Lord Krishna, right? So this is what Krishna is doing. Menial service to the elders, offering them desirable things and reverential worship. Coming back to his example, what is the thing that he will like? His desirable thing is, I want to come here, right? It's not like he cannot afford a car. Maybe he can even get a Lamborghini car, but he can't drive now, right? So what you can do, he may not be able to do, so let's help him. I'm just giving him as an example, but your parents who are aged, you can help their neighbors, etc. Palace is 23-25. He was planning battles in consultation with some of his advisors. He didn't say, I'm God. Who are you? Why do I need to ask you? He's consulting with his advisors. Advisors. You see God as an advisor here because he's a Kshatriya. And then he was making peace. Somewhere Lord Keshava and Lord Balaram were together pondering the welfare of the pious. These are beautiful things that the Lord is doing that we need to follow. In another palace, Lord sees, Narada Muni sees the Lord planning to get his sons and daughters married and also saw their marriage ceremony being performed with great pomp. Everybody's following. These are normal things that we all do at different stages of our life. So don't feel guilty and don't say, I spent all my time this week in preparing for the wedding. That's okay. That's part of your job. You have to do it. Krishna is showing that. 27. Krishna sends his daughters and son-in-laws away and then receiving them back again at the time of holiday celebration. After their marriage, they're going out of their palace to the in-laws' house, etc. And then he's bringing them back for some holiday celebrations. When you have fun, summer holidays, bring all your family members back together. That's what Krishna did that here. Okay? Again, the Lord worshipped the demigods with elaborate sacrifices, and elsewhere he was doing public welfare work. So how do you offer worship to the devatas? The easiest way is through the fire sacrifice. There are many other ways as well. So Krishna is doing that. Right? So you see how many times you're seeing him doing the fire sacrifice, right? So he also built monasteries. Krishna built monasteries. A monastery is a building or complex where a community of monks or nuns live together secluded, right? We can't criticize somebody who's worshipping Devata or performing, social activities or pious activities, right? Because Krishna is doing that here and it can be done or should be done in the household life. We already talked about it, right? The sun, the beautiful sun, or maybe it's a hot sun today, but because of sun we are alive. Everybody understands that, right? We already talked about it. The sun was if earth was about a foot away, closer to the sun, we are burned to death. Foot away from the sun, we are all frozen to death. Because of sun, we have life today, we have fruits and vegetables and everything alive because of sun. How many of you have paid electricity bill? You do pay electricity bill. You pay water bill. How many of you have paid, none of us have paid any bill to sun god. None of us have paid any money towards Indra. How many of you wrote a check for Indra? Nobody. We don't do that, right? But it says we have to do that because in Bhagavad Gita, I may have these verses. Yes. In the beginning of creation, Lord of creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu and blessed them by saying, Be thou happy by this yajna because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberations. The demigods being pleased by sacrifices, that's what Krishna is doing for devatas. And Krishna goes on to say in the next verse, they are pleased by your sacrifices and they will please you. And thus by the cooperation you give them, they'll give you. You pay the electricity bill, you'll get the electricity. You pay the water bill, you get water. If you don't pay water bill, what happens? No water, no electricity. So that's how we have to reciprocate with the devatas. Is that okay? So you can't ignore that. Okay? You're getting it from there. And then in charge of various necessities of life, the demigods being satisfied by the performance of yajna will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. Everybody okay? You're tired? Okay, so fasten your seatbelts, we'll go a little fast. So he's saying, I am seated in everyone's heart as super soul, and as soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. So don't think the devatas are the highest, but don't ignore them. That's the message. Okay? So endowed with such faith, he endows to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actually, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Okay? So almost there. In another place, a palace, he was going on a hunting expedition. This is a little controversial. Hunting expedition. Okay, I put as much information as possible to make it clear. Is he a god or is he a king in this pastime?
He's a Kshatriya.
He's a Kshatriya king. And he needs target practicing, right? Because one is these wild animals will come and kill the citizens. That's one. One is the nature of the Kshatriyas to protect. And the other reason is in some Vedic sacrifices done by the proper Brahmanas, you take the animal and you offer it as a sacrifice, the animal gets a younger body, right? So that is stated in our scriptures again and again. So traditional Vedic texts state that animals offered in properly performed sacrifices receive a new and elevated body through the power of the mantras that are done.
I have a quick question. In one of the previous slides, when you were describing the palaces, you mentioned that there was ivory, and ivory comes from the elephant. So does this also come hand in hand, like it was decorated with ivory? So does it come hand in hand with this?
So ivory, it's a good question whether ivory, right now ivory is obtained from the tusk of the elephant. Who knows how ivory was, or it could be the elephants that are dead. Right, so when elephants also die, right? Like it's not like elephants are always killed. So you can also get, in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, how do we have to chant, right? Meditate on the tip of the nose, not here, but here. This is the tip, right? And then what does he say? Where do you have to sit down?
Pusha grass.
Pusha grass, but
Deer skin.
deer skin. Krishna says deer skin. Right? So again, he doesn't say go kill or whatever, right? If you are not able to find. But there are deer skin. I do have two in my house. And not to be cross, but in some of the deer skin that you get, there'll be a hole. What does that mean?
Shot dead. Arrow.
But you have deers that die naturally as well. Right? So, there are many places where there are hundreds and thousands of deers, right? They all have a lifespan, right? So the deers die and then they take the skin. So, yes. Sorry?
Do you sit on your deer skin?
Sorry?
Do you sit on your deer skin?
You sit on the deer skin when you meditate. To meditate.
Krishna says that in the 6th chapter, right? If you are going to meditate, sit on the deer skin. Somebody can put that verse in the 6th chapter. If you're able to, we don't know the source, right? Unless, you know for sure it's dead. But again, it's up to you if you're able to get something without a hole. But it's not mandatory. That's not the most important thing. But Krishna is saying, sit erect with your back straight, meditate on the tip of the nose, and pusha grass, right? And on the deer skin, right? Actually, where does Lord Shiva sit? Tiger skin.
No, I'm trying to visualize you sitting on a deer skin. Just for fun, right?
Prabhu, that's the reason we don't use leather sofa. We use cloth I mean, prefer Krishna consciousness because
Yeah.
the other is a killing, no.
Killing of cow.
So we
it's
don't
a-
Or
use
handbags,
clothes.
expensive
Yeah.
handbags and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Prabhu, also the ivory tusk. It could be from the infantry, elephant infantry they have, and in battles they die all the time. So they take it from there.
Good point, yeah. So that could also, because at that time, it's not like tanks, right? It's not like F-16 aircraft, right? It's all on elephant, and then multiple, and these elephants, you've seen the pictures from before, or even the modern English movies, right? These multiple tusks are there. It's not like two tusks that we see, right? Multiple tusks are there. So that could be good question though. So Lord Krishna was moving about in disguise to know what others are thinking. So this is a very common feature even in Ramayana. If you remember, Lord Ram also was in disguise going and trying to find out, he's feeling the pulse of the people. They say, oh my God, there's so much of robbery and theft in Scarborough. And if the person in charge of this area quietly, in disguise, he's getting all that so that he can make this area better. Right? So he goes in disguise, right? So Krishna was doing that as well. Having thus seen this display of Lord's Yogamaya, Narada mildly laughed and said, only by serving his lotus feet he can perceive his powers, and then takes leave to sing Lord's glories. Lord Krishna said to Narada that he observes religious principles to teach them to the world. What verse did you say?
Yad yad acharati shrestha. Hari bol.
You never miss.
Hari bol. Prabhu, you never miss. I again repeat.
Yeah, you can read this verse.
Yad yad acharati shrestha tatta devetaro jana visayat pramanam rute lokastadam vartate. Whatever action is performed by a great man, common man follows in his footsteps. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues.
So that's exactly what the whole thing that we heard today, what Krishna is doing, getting his sons and daughters married, everything, he's showing us how to lead a grahastha life of a household. So Sukdev Goswami says, thus in every palace Narada saw the Lord in his same personal form, executing the transcendental principles of religion that purify those engaged in householders' life. Okay? So, as Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was engaged in his so-called household affairs in order to teach people how one can sanctify one's household life, although he may be attached to the imprisonment of material existence. But the Lord, being very kind upon householders, demonstrated the path of sanctifying ordinary household life. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur points out that the other residents of Dwarka could see Krishna only in a particular part of the city they themselves occupied, but not anywhere else, even if they would sometimes go to another precinct on some business. Thus the Lord gave a special view of his pastime to his beloved Narada Muni. Hence, we are all seeing the same through the transcendental work of Srila Prabhupada. Right? So we are seeing the same thing that Narada Muni saw. Even the devotees who were living during Lord Krishna's pastime, they were able to see only one Krishna at a time. Right? Either this palace is Krishna or this palace is. We get this beautiful bird's eye view, aerial view of what Narada Muni saw because of Vyasadeva, because of Srila Prabhupada, and of course because of Narada. Narada was amazed and filled with wonder and received gifts. Very important. He received gifts related to the economic prosperity, sense gratification, and religious duty from Lord Krishna. Now this also can be, some of you may, what is this? Krishna is giving gifts related to economic prosperity, sense gratification, and religious duty to Narada Muni, who's a sage, who's a traveling mendicant. Again, he's doing to show each one of us, it's our duty to give. Okay? So Narada himself was not interested in wealth, pleasure, or material rewards, because earlier what did he say? I just want one benediction to always remember you. But Krishna gave that, and he's also giving him physical gifts. That's our job as a householder. So honoring saintly guests is proper etiquette. Krishna was teaching ideal household behavior and additionally offering gifts representing dharma, right? He said dharma. So sacred garments, items used for worship. Some priests come to your house Give them some sacred garments, new dhoti, that you get great blessings, right? And items for worship. Give them a arati plate. Give them, you can give, think of all that. So when you go and visit some store, think of all that you can give others. For artha, gold coins, land. Again, we talked about, right, which is easy, standing in one leg and chanting, or giving $100. Charity is more difficult than austerity. So let's change that around, right? And then kama, lawful enjoyment. Examples of perfumes are also lawful enjoyment, right? So perfumes, flower garlands, furnishings are all part of those examples. Okay? Lord Narayana imitated the ways of ordinary humans. So sometimes in Srimad Bhagavatam he says, he enjoyed in the company of 16,000 exalted consorts. And then you may say, Prabhu, what is this? You just said 16,108. Srimad Bhagavatam says 16,000. Anybody thought about that? If you see here, thus he enjoyed, dear king, in the company of 16,100. Is that not a discrepancy? 16,100 versus 16,000 actually it says, right? 108 is missing.
It's like an approximate.
Exactly, very good, very good. So a practical analogy would be thousands attended the festival, especially Dinitai Prabhu is there, right? Prabhu, how many people came for Scarborough Rath Yatra? I think 10,000. Thousands he'll say, right? Dinitai Prabhu will exaggerate a little bit, right? Oh, then thousands and thousands of... He's not here, that's why I said that. So, I mean, thousands means I would say it's an exaggeration, but it's an approximation, right? So, 16,000 here is a collective or rounded reference to the entire group of queens, right? So here, this is highlighting his inconceivable potency, right? The emphasis is not on the exact census of queens, but on the astonishing fact that he simultaneously lived with so many queens in all these palaces. Yes, Prabhu? No, we are just talking about it. We will talk personally later on. Thousands attended the festival, right? What was the count of devotees who attended last year's Rath Yatra? 10,000, 20,000?
No, it could be 2,500.
Yeah, discount about 10% at least, right? Okay. So this is the verse that we read at the very beginning, right? This is the benediction verse. So once more, who's going to read this so that we get the benefit? Dinita Prabhu, why don't you read this? Is it too small? Too small. So who's going to get the benefit of reading this? Who didn't read this? Who didn't read so far?
I didn't.
Yes. This.
Lord Holy is the ultimate cause of universal creation, maintenance and destruction. My dear King, anyone who chants above, hears about or simply appreciates the extraordinary activities he performed in his world, which are impossible to imitate, will surely develop devotion for the Supreme Lord, the bestower
of liberation. So simply appreciates the extraordinary activities he performed in this chapter 69. And if you see this, which are impossible to imitate. So if you're just superficially looking at it, what's the big deal? Krishna was practicing sword, right? The extent, the highest degree in which he performed each one is impossible for us to imitate. But we can follow in the footsteps of the Lord. That's the intent, right? Don't imitate, but follow in the footsteps.
No anukaran, anusaran.
Yes.
Follow
the footsteps, don't try to imitate. Okay? The main message, can we read this? Lord Krishna?
Lord Krishna demonstrates that an ideal householder harmonizes spirituality, family, work, leadership, charity, learning, recreation, and social responsibility around reverence of God. True success is not choosing between material and spiritual life, but spiritualizing every aspect of it.
Everybody agrees? Why don't we read this? This is the takeaway. Okay, we're going to read this together. This is not in Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm just putting this together based on what we have read so far. We read that together. Lord Krishna demonstrates that an ideal householder harmonizes spirituality, family, work, leadership, charity, learning, recreation, and social responsibility around remembrance of God. True success is not choosing between material and spiritual life, but spiritualizing every aspect of life. So that's the biggest takeaway for us from this. Yet, say, this one is Yet Karoshi Yadashnashi, Yet Juhoshi Dadasya, Yet Tapasyasi Kaunteya, Tat Gurushva Madarpanam. Read together. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So whatever you do, so either neutral or positive. Don't do something bad and say I'm doing it for Krishna. Okay? So whatever you do, whatever you eat, again when we say whatever you eat, it was very open, it didn't say don't eat meat, etc. Right? So again, let's stay within our guardrails, right? Whatever you eat, the vegetarian, you offer it. Whatever you offer, you can offer a ride for Prabhu, you can offer a gift for others, right? So whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, right? It could be even the mundane austerity. Some of you may be in a gym, right? Sweating. So I'm offering it to you, Krishna. You spiritualize that simply, right? So it doesn't have to be austerity standing on one leg, right? So anything material also can be offered to Lord Krishna. Do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. Okay, chronological sequence. I know we're a little late, but I think this would be significantly important quickly. Narada's desire to witness Krishna's household life. So he therefore travels to Dwarka to observe Lord's household life. He arrives in Dwarka and he sees how many palaces?
900.
Hold on to your hard copy, don't look at your hard copy.
900.
900. They're going to go into that. This will be there. This will be there for you to take away. But then more is your lesson learned. But I want you to get your lessons learned. I want to extract it from you before we go through what I have here. Very quickly, he goes to Rukmini's palace. And who was fanning Lord Krishna in Rukmini's palace?
Rukmini Devi.
So again, don't say, hey, I employed you, do that for the Lord, right? And second palace, what was Krishna doing with Satyabhama and Uddhava? Playing dice. Okay? And the rest of the palaces, right? So I just grouped them together. He was actually taking care of his children, preparing for his bath, performing sacrifices, Pancha Maha Yajna, feeding the Brahmins, honoring the remnants, chanting Gayatri, worshipping at sunset, and practicing. I don't think so. We covered that a lot. Sword, right? Yeah, martial arts. Okay. Then recreational activities. What was Krishna doing? Riding horses, elephants, chariots, resting while hearing his glory. So this is important. He was just resting when the bards, B-A-R-D-S, were chanting his glories. What is the lesson? Always read Krishna book or Bhagavad Gita before you go to sleep. Go to your altar or a picture of Krishna that you have. Krishna loves to listen to his own glories, okay, his own pastimes. He's reading Puranas and Puranas are about him. So read. Have you seen some devotees, older devotees, reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, sitting in the altar and reading it? For whom? For Krishna to hear. So here Krishna is resting while hearing his glories, right? So these are all direct relationship or direct incident that is taking place in Srimad Bhagavatam. He's consulting with the ministers, enjoying water pastimes, donating cows. So don't think of cows in that. Oh, Srimad Bhagavatam said cows as charity. I don't have any cows. No, you have money, right? So you can give money for as charity. Listening to Puranas and sacred histories, joking with the streets, performing religious ceremonies, managing economic affairs, conducting ideal family according to the scriptures, and duties, right? So he's meditating, serving the elders with humility, planning warfare, negotiating peace, performing sacrifices again and again. Narada's realization, right? So he is just spellbound by mystic potency of Lord Krishna, and Krishna explains his purpose. What does he say? Krishna told Narada that although he is the source of all religious principles, he personally follows them to teach humanity by example. Okay, he's teaching us as to what we need to do. Okay, departure and conclusion. He was filled with wonder, and then he received all the gifts from Lord Krishna, and he left. Now, lessons to be learned. So each one would have looked at it from their own perspective or different angle, but we would like to hear maybe three from this side, maybe three lessons to be learned. There's no there's no wrong answer. All your answers are right answers. So don't feel shy. We would like to learn from you as to what are the lessons that you think. One lesson from one devotee, and then we'll get 3 devotees to answer from this side first.
You have to like learn from Krishna and give an example, but don't try to be him.
Don't try to imitate him, but learn from what he did in
Yeah.
your level as to what you can do.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be sword fight, but if your job requires you to be proficient in computer, so be it, right? That you're serving the Lord, eventually you're going to get money and you will donate, etc. Right? Very good one.
Try to take chances to help people.
To help people, yes, because he did that. He practically helped so many elders and others as well. Very good. Yes.
Yeah, don't disrespect demigods.
Yes,
They are
wonderful
also-
point, wonderful point. Don't disrespect devatas or demigods, right? Fabulous point. It's very important because we always seem to be, trending in that direction, right? So again, that is why it's not like when we give a class, it's like, where is the source, right? So this is the source, right? You're reading the source from Srimad Bhagavatam, what Krishna actually did. Yes, right? Okay, now from this side, anyone, yes?
Service or devotion is not an option to escape from your duties.
Beautiful point. So you can't just blame, okay, I'm a ISKCON devotee. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't go to work. Sorry, I can't clean the house. Sorry, I can't take care of the children. Krishna did everything that seemed to be normal, right? Other than meditating and offering sacrifice, he's doing things that we all do, right? So again, it's legal, right? It's of saying legal. It's your duty. It's our duty to do the normal things.
Oh, yeah. It's okay to engage in family life, of course, with putting Krishna in the center. You don't have to feel guilty about.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
Lines up very nicely, both of them. That's the whole intent of today's class, right?
Yeah.
And this whole pastime in the 69th chapter. Yes.
Balance your spiritual and material life, including recreation.
Including
And
recreation.
also offer respect to sages and ancestors.
Yeah, the Pancha Mahayajna is very important as well.
Seniors.
Yes, seniors, elders, ancestors,
exalted.
other human beings, other living entities, rishis. How can you offset the what we owe to the rishis? By reading the books, by reading the scriptures. Krishna is hearing it, right? So we can do the same. Yes, Prabhu.
Don't be judgmental and help others when I was opportunity comes.
Sorry, say again.
Don't be judgmental. When the opportunities come, help others.
Yes, help others, right? Don't be judgmental. Help others. You can, right? We gave practical examples of how you can help a devotee today, right? Who's sponsoring all our prasad and everything as well. Okay. For the third time, Prabhu, we mentioned that. So some devotees will have to go to him before he leaves today, get his number and keep it. Just call him sometimes, right? Just, how are you, Prabhu? You're good. That will mean so much, right? We all have to go through that stage sooner than later, right? Yes.
Yeah, one practical tip I learned today was when I eat, I don't pray or show gratitude for the food and don't acknowledge that I want to help make me, make God work through me. So I think I'll start that.
Yeah, beautiful realization. Yeah, the simple act of eating. How many times we eat? 2, 3 times. We have to eat to live, not live to eat. We all eat to live, and then we eat 2 or 3 times, right? Not just human beings, animals, birds, insects. Everybody has to eat to survive. That's the nature of the world. But we can be grateful, right, for what we have. Some people can't even eat, right? I know some very old people, through the tubes, right? So again, be grateful. We talked about Varuna. Srimad Bhagavatam says, because of Varuna, we are able to taste the food. The taste is only this 3 or 4 inches, the tongue size. You eat a beautiful, tasty halwa, gulab jamun. It's only these 3 or 4 inches. Once it goes from here, sand, halwa, everything is the same, right? So this is the most powerful one, Varuna, it is said. And many people cannot eat, right? They cannot digest, right? So how long we can enjoy this is not for too long. Okay, let's face it. It's all going to come to a, not being negative, but it's a reality, right? So appreciate everything that we have today. We are able to eat, we are able to digest, we are able to see. A lot of people cannot see. I know a person who cannot breathe and he died, right? His lung was completely gone. We take things for granted and we complain what we don't have. But what we have is way more than what many people have. We are able to see, we are able to bathe, we are able to, taste. Yes.
Read and listen to Puranas.
Read and listen to Puranas. That's because Krishna did exactly that. It's not a convoluted way we are coming to that. It's a direct way. Krishna heard Puranas every day. Right? Okay, lessons to anything else? Yes, Prabhu.
So thank you, Prabhu, for doing wonderful job. First of all, in the opportunity, and I'm very blessed to receive. I have one point to raise here. One point is one learning I have today, and from your talk, you said in a short sequence that tune is the frequency of God. I'm taking that one, and I also take this way to do meditate, you do it for your spiritual benefit for a health. Do it every day and connect with the Lord, tune with the right frequency. We have so many frequencies here. 680, 94, 38, 98, until you tune, you cannot.
Wonderful point. Very good point. Everybody agrees? Those are the takeaways. That's why we have this group discussion, so we learn from each other. It's not like one person teaching. I'm not teaching anything. Whatever is there, I'm just presenting it, right? And we are collectively learning, right? So I'm learning. I have a vested interest in doing this, right? Because I go deeper into it, I learn more, so my understanding is more. That's all it is. It's not like I'm like a teacher teaching. We're collectively learning. I just do this little earlier than you do, right? Like it's today, but for me, for last few months. But it's not like it's new for you or for others, but it's a remembrance and deeper dive into the topics
You
that
are
are
getting
critical.
a lot of sukrutis, and blessings of Krishna.
Yes,
Very
Anand, my son from Nagavet, he wanted to listen to his class. Because we physically know what is happening. So that like
Again, so many devotees do service, right? We talked about, right? How many devotees get involved in putting the tables and chairs and the screen for today, right? Mine is just a few hours, but for all of them, and then somebody sponsoring, somebody arranging that, bringing it here, right? I mean, unlimited people get benedictions because of what you're doing, right? Towards the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so put spiritual life at the center of everything. So again, very quickly, both of you mentioned and you reiterated, Krishna is chanting Gayatri, performing yajnas. Sorry about the spelling mistake, it's a different font actually. Cambria versus Balaram. Hearing scriptures, honoring brahmanas, following religious duties. No matter how busy life becomes, spiritual practices should remain the foundation of life. Family, career, wealth and social responsibilities become meaningful when centered in God. Family life can be a spiritual path. He was caring for his children, spending time with his wife, arranging marriages, participating in family celebrations, maintaining affectionate family relations. You see what I've done here, right? So Narada Muni went to this palace, he found this. In this. So what I'm doing is connecting the common thread under the family he did, and then spiritual things that he did, putting that together so that the learning is much easier. Everybody follows? So these are all the family life that we also will have to do, some or more or same. So we have to do this because that itself is a spiritual path as well. Greatness is measured by humility. Remember, he was receiving Narada respectfully, falling at his feet, washing his feet with the water. What do you want, etc., etc. Rising from the seat when to welcome him, washing Narada's feet, of course. Honoring brahmanas and saintly person, giving them so much of gifts, serving elders. So God is teaching us how we need to lead our life on a daily basis. Okay? So true greatness is not measured by power, wealth, knowledge or position. It is measured by humility, service, gratitude and respect. Even though Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he demonstrated how to honor elders, teachers, saints, guests, parents, spiritual guides, etc. Live a balanced and complete life. Who mentioned the same word? I think Prabhu mentioned, right? Narada saw Lord Krishna acting simultaneously as a husband. Did he act as a husband? He was talking to his queens. As a father, how? He was getting his sons and married, etc. As a king, because he was consulting sword fights to protect, hunting as well. as an administrator, building all these ponds and monasteries, etc. Spiritual practitioner, meditating, philanthropist. Do not sacrifice family, health, spirituality, character, or relationships for success in only one area of life. A complete life requires balance. This is a significant takeaway, right? So Krishna is wearing different hats here. Okay, he's wearing the hat of a king, he's wearing the hat of a father, husband, etc., which is all what we do as well, right? So do what you have to do everywhere properly, right? Don't just say, sorry, I have to do kirtan in the temple, I cannot buy groceries today, right? We need to balance those, right? Okay, two more. Leadership means responsibility, not privilege, right? He's consulting the ministers, he's not taking the position, I know what I'm doing, this is what we need. He's consulting, he's monitoring public welfare, planning for the kingdom, etc. A true leader listens, serves, protects, and works for the welfare of others. Leadership begins in the home and extends to the society. So all of you are leaders in your own way. Is that not right? You don't need to be having a title of a vice president of a company or manager of a company. You are all managers at your home. You're all bosses. You're all leaders in your own realm of reality. Wealth and success should benefit others. He was seen donating, supporting brahmanas, performing charity, building wells, parks, public facilities, helping society prosper. So prosperity carries responsibility. Wealth should be used not only for personal enjoyment, but also for the service, charity, and community welfare.
Yukta Vairagya.
Yeah.
That's the definition.
Never stop learning and growing. Krishna is listening to Puranas. Even though, who's the author of Puranas? Who's the 17th incarnation of Lord Krishna? Vyasadeva. He wrote. So Krishna himself is listening to what he listened. Okay? So never stop learning. Consulting wise advisors, demonstrating continuous engagement with knowledge. Growth never ends. Lifelong learning, reflection, and also don't say I know Bhagavad Gita. Prabhu, tomorrow we have Bhagavad Gita 9.26 Patram Pushpam. Prabhu, I know that verse. You will always know something new when you attend every class. When you read the same thing the next time, because of your other learnings, you'll get new reflections. Have you seen this? So you will realize it, right? So Bhagavad Gita, same verse, same purport you read. 1 year later, you read that, you'll get much more realization than that, because in that 1 year, you would have gotten more knowledge, more experience in your life. It gives you a different perspective altogether. So every time it's new. So it's like taking water from the well. More you take, more keeps coming. Respect all legitimate duties and relationship, right? So he performed the Pancha Mahayagya, honoring sages, etc. So we are connected to many people and benefit from countless contributions. Gratitude, responsibility, and respect are essential for a meaningful life. You talked about your shirt, your slippers or books. You know, how many people would have touched that? This remote that I have, right? I don't know which country it's coming from, but there is resistors, capacitors built in some other country. The test equipment for this is done by someone else. The operator who performed the test is, somewhere else. We are always indebted to everybody. Okay, a few more, 2 or 3 more. Lead by personal example. So Krishna is saying, I observe religious principles to teach them to the world. People learn more from what we do than from what we say. Do you agree to that?
Yes.
You tell your son or daughter, don't do this bad thing, and you do the bad thing.
Yeah.
Right? So they are seeing you, not what you're telling them to do. So it's not like rule for thee, not for me. Right? So you follow what you preach. Spiritualize every aspect of life. Narada observed Krishna worshipping, governing, giving charity, studying, enjoying, recreation, caring for family. Do not divide life into material and spiritual. So don't say that spirituality is only between the 4 walls of ISKCON Scarborough on Sunday. I go to temple on Sunday. The rest of the week? No, we need to extend what we do on Sunday, to whatever we do during 7 days a week, not just in that 3 hours on a Sunday, right? So do not divide that, rather perform every duty with gratitude, integrity, etc. Healthy recreation as a place in spiritual life. So again, based on some questions from last time, I chose this subject. So it's not illegal, it's legal here. Okay, again. Playing dice with Satyabhama, enjoying water pastimes, riding horses and chariots, and participating in family and social celebrations. Okay? Spiritual life is not joyless. If you want to make it joyless, it's up to individuals to make it joyless, right? But it doesn't have to be. So recreation, relaxation, and celebration have the proper place when they are wholesome, important, wholesome, regulated, and supportive of one's duties and spiritual goals. The lesson is not renounce enjoyment, but elevate enjoyment. Okay? Elevate enjoyment. Recreation should refresh us and strengthen relationship rather than distract us from the higher purpose. So I put some examples here. I'm not going to read through it. Remember, Revati and her father Kakkurmi went to Lord Brahma. They said, "Oh, Kakkurmi, the father of Revati. Revati is eventually the wife of Balaram. So the father takes the daughter to Lord Brahma's abode, and I want a suitable husband for my daughter." Brahma was actually not ready. He was busy. What was he busy with? When Kakkurmi and Revati went to Brahmaloka, all the way from here, millions and millions and millions of miles, when they went there, Brahma, what was he doing? He was busy listening to some musical performance. Recreation, remember? It is there in Srimad Bhagavatam here, 9:3:28 to 32, right? He was listening to the musical performance by the Gandharvas. Who? Lord Brahma. So is this recreation? Is this legal? What does it say in 6th chapter? Balanced. Okay? And there, it's right here. 6.17. Maybe you can read it.
He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system.
Now, don't use this as a license to do something else and say, Prabhu said this, right? That's why this is the verse from Bhagavad Gita, and these are examples from Srimad Bhagavatam, and these are examples.
What is the Sanskrit? Yukta ahara
You can read it.
Yukta ahara viharasya. Something.
Very nice verse, okay? So, again, this is the takeaway from here. Maybe I think I have 12, 15 maybe. Compassion must be balanced with strength. Compassion does not mean avoiding difficult responsibilities. Krishna demonstrates that an ideal leader combines kindness with courage, right? Here he was hunting, right? So he was sometimes hunting. So you can't just say, I'm a king, I'm sorry, I'm not going to. Nowadays, what did the ruler do? The king of, the president of the country will send poor soldiers to go and fight, you know where now, right? Go there to the straits of dash and fight, and then they get killed, whereas the president is comfortably sitting in an air-conditioned home, right? But that was not the Krishna as a king went there and confronted these dangerous animals, right? So that they don't come and kill the children, etc. And also for Vedic sacrifice to benefit the animals as well. Spiritualize every aspect of life, right? Care for the family, consulting ministers, giving charity. The main teaching is not to divide, we talked about it. Family duties, work, charity, everything should be offered to the Lord, right? Talked about Ketkaro Shredasnasi. Okay, quickly going to the quiz. We can go through this together finally. So all of you open the page for quiz. Do you have a page number on it? Okay. Question number 1. What extraordinary event inspired Narada Muni to visit Dwarka? Anybody from this first 2 rows?
B for Balaram.
B for Balaram. Krishna's marriage to 16,108 queens and his simultaneous residence within them. Question number 2. We'll get the last 2 tables there. Who designed and built the magnificent palaces of Lord Krishna in Dwarka? This 2. Vishwakarma. Wonderful. Correct answer. Number 3. From these 2 tables, Prabhu, these 2 tables, number 3. Which principal queen's palace did Narada Muni enter first?
Rukmini.
Prabhu, you agree?
D for
Yes, Rukmini, very good. Number 4. What personal service was Queen Rukmini rendering to Lord Krishna when Narada arrived?
Training.
Fanning, very good. Fanning him with yak tail fan. Number 5. Girnitai Prabhu, Govindadas Prabhu. Hello, Hare Krishna. How did Lord Krishna receive Narada Muni upon his arrival? Is it A, B, C or D? Only them.
B for Balaram.
Sorry, which one? A, B, C or D?
B for Balaram.
B for B. Okay, good. Yes. So he stood up, offered respects, washed his feet, and seated him honorably. Number 6, back to the first 2 rows. What benediction did Narada Muni request from Lord Krishna?
See.
See, constant remembrance of the Lord. Number 7, in whose company was Lord Krishna playing dice with Narada when he entered Satyabhama's palace?
Uddhava and Satyabhama.
D for Balaram.
Yes, now it's open to all, right? So, faster you say, you get the credit. Uddhava and Satyabhama. Number 8, what realization caused Narada Muni to become astonished during his visit?
Krishna
Simultaneously present in multiple palaces performing different activities.
For Chaitanya.
Chaitanya, very good. Number 9, which of the following activities did Narada observe Lord Krishna performing?
D.
Caring affectionately for his children, feeding brahmanas, preparing for his bath. So it's all of the above. D. Number 10, what charitable activity did Narada observe Lord Krishna performing? Yeah, he may have done other things for sure, but
I think all of them.
but in this pastime, in general, in Srimad Bhagavatam, when we read, it's all of them. But in this particular pastime, it is A, donating decorated cows to brahmanas. 11. What family responsibility did Lord Krishna personally oversee? Education of princes, marriage arrangements for his sons and daughters, military training for grandchildren, distribution. What was the answer?
D for Balaram.
Okay, sorry. All right. So 12. Which public welfare activities did Lord Krishna perform as an ideal ruler?
A. Construction of wells, parks, and malls.
Yes. 13. Why did Lord Krishna sometimes move amongst his citizens in disguise?
C for Chaitanya.
To understand the thoughts and welfare of the subject so that it can be improved and executed. Number 14. What conclusion did Narada Muni reach after witnessing Krishna's simultaneous activities?
B for Balaram.
Nobody says it's A because he was a king.
No, it's
Good. B for Balaram. Krishna's mystic powers can be understood only through devotional service. I think this is the last one. Why did Lord Krishna explain that he personally follows religious principles?
C.
To teach humanity by his own example. His divine grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Any last thoughts? Any last questions or suggestions, comments? You good? So again, sorry we went over by about 50 minutes. I apologize, but it's a nice summer day. So hopefully there was a lot of learnings from this, even though it's not a pastime. It's the sequence of activities that we say Lord Narada because Krishna himself called him Lord. So Narada Muni saw Lord Krishna performing in 16,108. So the description in Srimad Bhagavatam is for about 33 palaces, but we know we can extend it to the 16,108. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mahaprasade.
Mahaprasade Govinde.
Mahaprasade
Govinde.
Namo Brahmane Vaishnave.
Namo Brahmane Vaishnave.
Punyamratam Rajan.
Swalpa punyatam raja.
Vishwasameva Jayate.
Vishwasameva.
Sarira avidyajal.
Sarira avidyajal.
Jyotindriya tahe kal.
Jyotindriya tahe kal.
Phale visay sagare.
Jeevan kale vishe
Sara
sagare.
vandya jivati.